Can I ask you two a question, experienced finals coaches? All of a sudden, Leon Davis, how's he going to react to being moved out of the team? How does the forward line feel about that? All of a sudden, you create this instability in the environment, if you like, and they've won a lot of games end on end. He's been a big part of it, and all of a sudden, he's not in the mix.
You've been there. I mean, don't you reckon players just wear that? They'll miss him. There'll be some guys in the same. I wish Leon was playing, but in the end, when the ball's bounced, I'm just a great believer they switch on to what they've got and who's out there.
But in terms, I'm a great believer in. I know we're talking about the back six all the time, and we're sort of coaching to areas in the ground up where there's not the same versatility, flexibility, throwing them back and forward, swing men that we used to have, because the capacity to play with each other, this cooperative, cohesive, coordinated, whatever you like, this team thing, is based on the understanding that you have with the players around you. And I would have thought he's played long enough to create this in whatever role he is. It's a very late time. I wouldn't have been pulling that. You've given up on the player. He would see that, I would think, publicly as an execution for him. And you've given up on that group which work collectively together, and they've got to find a way. Now, Mick says everybody has a role, everybody plays their role. I think collectively they don't have nearly the talent. You know, the All-Australian team, 6 Geelong blokes in it, 3 Collingwood blokes. I reckon that's the level of artillery which they bring to play. But collectively is their unit. Their strength is in the way they play, which is about the individuals uniting up together. And I think this is a little... I know why. I just don't understand why.
Well, Mick's actually saying that Blair is a better player than Leon, and Blair's been around for 5 minutes.
Can I just say,
different player, isn't he? Though.
And Paco has said that they've given up on him a bit, but was that the decision already made earlier? In the sense that the great positions in modern day football is to get into the midfield rotation. You're not going to get tagged, you get a lot of space, you're around the ball. Leon hasn't got into that rotation too often, so he's been stuck down in arguably the most difficult area of the ground to play, and he's been out of form but never been given the opportunity to get back into some form by releasing the pressure, if you like.
He sort of did a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Oh, he did. He used to be a big part of the midfield and stream forward and cause all sorts of
But I think
issues.
I think what's happened is Thomas has started to do that.
Yep.
Balls came into the side. Pendlebury's become a much better player from that time. Beams will do it a bit. I reckon they've found other players who they think might provide that midfield better than Leon. So that, you're right, it does push him down to forward. Never played forward, so a really hard, obviously a hard role to play as a permanent small type forward, isn't it?
I agree with you.
You'll have your days. That's why Milne, I know we're talking about St Kilda, that's why Milne's been a very, very good footballer. Because not many players do what Milne's done.
I'll tell you what could cost Geelong, Paco, is their inexperience. I mean, all of a sudden Davis is not playing, Medhurst not playing, Lockie is not playing. I mean, they've pulled a lot of experience out of this team, and the X factor in the team, the early draft picks, Beams and even a Pendlebury, Thomas. I mean, side bottom. These guys are young guys.
I had 1, 2, 3, 4. I wrote down 6 players for Collingwood with inexperience. Blair 9 games, Dawes 27, Reid 26. I counted Wellingham in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
McCaffer 23, and Brown has played about 40. On the other side, you've only got Podsiadeli, who's a mature man, has played 18, and then it's out to Lonergan at 53 games. So on that basis, that's a very valid point about the inexperience comparatively.
But I reckon full marks to Mick Malthouse, who's
absolutely
one of the oldest coaches going around, and he's embraced the youngsters, and Collingwood have gone better this year.
It'll be one of the great premierships. And Peter just mentioned 6 players, but he didn't mention the 4 I mentioned. All of a sudden, half the team is very young. This is a very young Collingwood team.
Yep. Man,
which means they're going to have a bit of a dynasty moving forward if these guys are up to it.
The mood of the two teams during the week, Mark Thompson's been a bit edgy, I think, with his own players rather than the opposition. Mick Malthouse couldn't have been calmer in the way he presented yesterday, and the veneer he passed on, and Mick's not terribly good-humoured in these types of things. He was tremendously well-humoured and indulging yesterday, I thought.
Well, I thought exactly the same. We didn't talk about this earlier, but I thought exactly the same way. The way I read the communication stance, if you like, from the coach was exactly that. One who is absolutely and totally confident about A, the group he's selected, and B, the method they're going to apply tonight to actually win the game. The other one was a bloke who's got cleaned up. Chris was right. They cleaned this mob up last time. unmercifully in a way that I must admit I sat here and was amazed to see the manner which they got about the game and how they destroyed Geelong. Now, they're ready for it. They're ready for it, Geelong, but whether they have the capacity with the way they play to deal with this method, this will be the fascination, I think, of what evolves in the next couple of hours.
Some of the top premierships in recent times have been the baby bombers. You know, a lot of teenagers, blokes around 20, 21. If the Pies go on and win the flag from here, this will be along those lines. A young team that burst out of the blocks, came from nowhere. Did we give them a show at the start of the year? I know they were top 4 last year as well, but this would be some sort of premiership if they can pull it off. And having done the minor premiership and won their first final, they've done everything you could possibly ask.
And remember what happened to the Essendon side of '93.
And Hawthorn.
It took a while to. It took a while. It was before they were sort of ready for it, and they tumbled and turned for a while. And it wasn't until the later '90s they got up and went again. So, you know, it's fought with all sorts of dangers and idiosyncrasies, I think.
Blue Diamond winners don't often go on and win a lot of races after that, Jared.
I agree, Drew. If Collingwood can win the premiership this year, they've kind of reshaped the methodology. They've played a young group with courage. They've manufactured players all over the ground into all-Australian status, let alone, filling out the team. They set the agenda clearly. Eddie got up and said, we need to win a premiership with this Open. They've been innovative with their trip overseas when they get away together. They've recruited for needs. Lee Brown, everyone very critical of that, and Lee, tremendous character, so he was never going to let them down on that front. But, they've just brought it together magnificently. And some of the footy they've played, particularly on the turnover front and the front half, it's just been, as good as you get.
And that's why they've done so. I mean, don't forget Jolly and Ball have been outstanding additions. And the other thing, and I agree with what Chris says, every player on that list just about has improved. Gee, if you could say that about your team every year, you'd be very, very happy. Even Swan's improved. He's a star. Even he's got better.
Well, he didn't win the Brownlow last year, but he will this year.
So that to me is what you're saying, David. Just a great capacity to get the best out of a collective unit. When you put them talent-wise up against Geelong, Geelong's got more talent.
Absolutely. And what interests me about Collingwood too, they're number 2 defensively, which is a very good record to have over the last 26 years, I think it is. But they're also number 2 offensively. If you go the other way, Saints are number 1 defensively, but number 4 offensively. So I reckon that, and you look at that, Bulldogs are 3 and 4. They're down a bit below that. So in terms of the balance, the capacity to score heavily when they need it, and the capacity to prevent the opposition, I think they've also got the balance right in their play. Geelong, if you're looking at Geelong, are 3rd in terms of defence this year, and they're number 1. They kick more than everybody else, but they're not as good as closing it down.
Yeah, they do it in bursts, don't they, the Cats? Have they played a full game this year? They seem to play a half or a quarter, and they bang on 9 goals in 11 minutes. And
the beauty of Geelong is they can score. That's the beauty of them. That's my only criticism of St Kilda. Sometimes when you're defending so well, have you actually got the capacity then to score quickly when you have to, and not give up all your defensive element?
Well, they did against the Western Bulldogs. We saw that game a few weeks ago, didn't we? When they had to kick. But you're right, Pete. I absolutely agree with the
8 goals winning scores.
They kicked 3 in about 4 minutes to come from behind to win it by 4 points.
If they're a boxer, they win on points all the time, wouldn't they?
Well, the analogy I made last time was the bull and the matador. I know the odds don't stack up for the bull, but I did fax a photo of a bull with his horn going through the thigh of a matador, because Geelong are the most skillful team in the competition. And you alluded to that, Peter. But the pressure that Collingwood have applied has been groundbreaking in the game.
So that's the overview, and coming up, the specific preview of tonight. The banners are out, the crowd is building, and the players are preparing away from our site. It's Collingwood and Geelong in the first preliminary final. You'll hear it all here on Grandstand AFL.
You can get the ABC in more ways.
News.
With the new ABC iPad app.
Entertainment.
We've already got your phone covered.
3G or Wi-Fi.
No matter which mobile you're on or where you are.
Radio.
There are apps or the ABC mobile site.
Video.
And now there's the new free ABC iPad app.
TV and podcast.
So browse it, swipe it, listen and watch. Get your ABC on the move.
This is Friday Night Football on ABC Local Radio.
And the eyes of the nation are on the MCG tonight, from the fanatical to even the vaguely interested in AFL, as the top two teams of the season meet a week too early in most reckonings. It's Collingwood and Geelong, and the winner goes on to next week's grand final only. Gerard Whateley and Drew Morford to call the match for you. We're a quarter of an hour away from the opening siren, and the players are shortly to emerge in front of plenty, a crowd which will surely nudge and top 90,000. Your experts tonight on Grandstand AFL: Chris Connolly, David Parkin and Peter Schwab. Gents, share your thoughts with us.
Well, am I leading off by saying, and I'll sit out and be, what's the word, you can knock me over. I think at the moment the methodical game plan of Collingwood, every player gets a game on the basis of the role that he plays. I think the defensive edge, Chris, which you've already talked about, which has taken the transition into defence all over the ground to a level that we've never seen before, including St Kilda at their best. Probably a question mark about their conversion. They're all talking about it, including the bloke who's been worst at it. It's almost that they're trying to talk themselves into it. I think it is critical. If the game's going to be as close as it is, the capacity to get underway well is important.
The Cats are first out onto the MCG. They're looking to give their dynasty a chance at another premiership. They've been successful in this point 3 years running in preliminary finals, and 2 of those over the Magpies.
And their other strength has been their consistency within games and between games over this season. Geelong, I think, it went up, didn't there as many? I think they won 17, lost 5. Geelong, Collingwood won 17, lost 4 and drew 1. So there's not much difference. But their performances, Geelong, have been all over the place, between games and within game. I love the way they play because they take them on. They use handball like no other team in the competition has ever done before, and I think the strength of Collingwood will be to put that under pressure and cause the turnovers and poor disposal. They have much more offensive talent, but they've been, as I suggested, very inconsistent. So midfield wins it. I reckon that Geelong will play less. I've worked out 9 will run through the midfield tonight. 6 of those happen to be A graders. The others share between B and C. No doubt Davis out, he didn't run through the midfield. They'll run 11 through there tonight, Collingwood. 3 only A graders in my mind, the rest basically B. So there's a measure of skill in Geelong's favour, a measure of depth across the board, which has been Collingwood's greatest asset.
Well, I just took some notes. Look, Geelong, I think, lose to teams that defensively squeeze them, and they struggle to get through the zone. They turn the ball over. That's what happened last time, I believe, with Collingwood. That Collingwood are the best side at getting the ball back off you in positions where they can then score. I think that's imperative that Geelong, I think they'll play a bit differently. I think they'll use their foot skills a bit more than their handball tonight. They are the number 1 side for efficiency by foot. The stat I'll be looking at, who's winning the kicks and how efficient are they. The other area that Geelong have to break near even with Collingwood, which didn't happen last time, was inside 50s. You just can't go what they did last time, they'll get smashed. The other area that both are pretty good at, but Collingwood's better at, is the contested ball. So that's a big area for Geelong. Stoppages, I think stoppage clearances are critical only on the basis of can you score from those positions. So that's another interesting way to look at the game. Tackling, I'd put a question to both of you. Does tackling actually matter when you look at the statistics? Yes, if you see Collingwood are the number 1 tackling side. No, if you look at Geelong, who are about 11th. But that probably equates to Geelong having the ball so much more that they're actually not in positions to tackle. I think Collingwood's area, the only area they do let themselves down occasionally is their efficiency when they're inside 50, kicking on goal, and that's mainly because they're happy to go wide to spots where players are in space, and you're going to suffer the consequences of giving the ball to players who are in those positions. So that's really, in my mind, why they are an inaccurate side. They don't actually play the corridor all the time. They're actually happy to go wide to see someone who's got space to work in.
Pete, you're absolutely, they're number 15 in the competition. Only one team is worse. They average 56% of their set shots and 55% overall. So that's like terrible.
Yeah, it's not a good stat.
The banner is up for the Pies, and their champions heading up the race now. They have the biggest supporter base in Australian sport at their backs, and I think they're all inside the MCG tonight. They will play their part. Nick Maxwell leads them out. Is their time of destiny approaching?
Jared, I read with interest that article about Nick Maxwell. He's a great story. Two boys tonight. The two boys, Ling and Maxwell, both came through St Joey's in Geelong. Both came through the under-18s. I mean, that would just about be a first, I would have thought. So they'll be very proud of their junior club in what they've done, and certainly the under-18s. But I'm not sure about Nick Maxwell's father's story this morning, when he said the first thing he's doing is going to take a photograph of his sons with the cup and send it to Bomber Thompson, who got rid of him at Geelong. I thought that was pretty, ordinary sort of a statement to make.
Dropped his guard there. Just from my end, look, one thing to consider that these two teams are miles apart in, and that is rotating off the bench. And it means that Collingwood has a lot of energy out there. Geelong players who are empowered to have a big say at the club don't like to be rotated as much, but the energy out in the field for Collingwood really means there's a large breaking point for them. So they'll always think they're in the game, and when we talk about burst scoring like Drew spoke about, they're in a position to stop that occurring because they keep relentless pressure on. The underdog tag is a good one for Geelong. It's a little bit different for them. They alluded, having watched the George Foreman, Muhammad Ali film, that maybe Geelong are a bit like George Foreman. They're alluding to complacency. I wouldn't think so with this game and their experience. And look, the other X factor for Geelong is just their superstars. I mean, if Joel Selwood, Gary Ablett, Jimmy Bartell say we are going to win tonight and play the very best football they're capable of, they're a big chance.
I made a basic statement. I said, if you look up at the end of the night and your best players for Geelong are Burns, Hawkins and Hunt, you've lost the game. No disrespect. And if Collingwood look up and said, our best players were Reid, McCaffrey and Brown, similar. Your best players, Chris is right, your best players have to be Ablett, Chapman, Mooney, Bartell. You got a chance. Swan, Didak, Cloak, Pendlebury, you got a chance. Your good players have to play well in finals.
And they just inspire the team. They inspire the teammates. It's infectious.
No wonder we win the ratings when we've got prophetic insight in the football like that.
Well, I'm being very basic, but
I wonder.
But you don't want back pockets winning your best and fairest. It means you've had a lousy year. No disrespect.
Yeah, I won a best and fairest in 1965 and we finished last.
I remember saying to John Platten, if you're 4 goals down in the last quarter, did you always think you could win? He said, I looked up one end, there was Dunstall, Platten and Dunstall, Brereton and Buckenara. He said, I looked down the other end, there was Tuck, Langford and Mew. He said, come on boys, we can do this.
And David, you just used it as a bit of an aside, but with the ABC winning the ratings, and I would just like to congratulate the audience for being on board with the ABC, because Grandstand has had a fantastic year this year, as we did last year. So congratulations to all of you for having a lot of friends as you listen to the radio on Grandstand.
Can I bring something out of just left field, a little interesting thing during the week coming out of head office? The research that's been going very heavily into the interchange as to what are the factors or not. There has no doubt by the research done that the injuries are on the increase, both soft tissue and collision. And there's no doubt about the disadvantage of losing players in Dane, that it is less fair than it used to be. It is unfair if you lose players. That's come out. But the interesting stat is the team gets most injured is the one that plays Collingwood.
Yeah, that is an interesting stat.
Yeah,
because they rotate the most.
They rotate the most, and they try and stay with them.
Just stay there the whole time.
Yep.
Can I just say, just on rotations, why I believe it needs to change. If Collingwood get 2 injuries, they're in real trouble, because they have a game plan linked into being able to rotate players through the bench, and it will play its part on their front.
What would you do with Swan and what would you do with Ablett? And would you just simply whack them together and say, right, we'll see how we go this way?
Yeah, look, if we could manage, I would actually manage that, particularly if I was Geelong. I'd say, well, I think the end result, it's a silly thing to say, but the end result of the possessions of Ablett will hurt you more than the end result of the possessions of Swan. As long as they are about even, if they get 35 or 40 each, I will have the Ablett end result before the Swan. That's my personal opinion.
Having said that, teams have gone off Gary Ablett. The team is so in sync with giving him the ball at all times, it becomes easier to actually shut Paul Chapman out of the team. So he's been able to have the tags, and Gary's been let go a bit in recent times.
Interesting.
And the way Geelong possess the ball so much, many would say over-possess the ball, does that give a team like Collingwood, who use a forward press on you, more chance to get it off because Geelong are flipping it around so much?
Absolutely. Those sort of sides beat them.
And that'll be the key to the game. No doubt true. What happens in that, if Geelong go about their normal disposal rating and the percentage between kicks and hand pass, and Collingwood are able to apply, often it's hard, Pete's right, often it's very hard to get a tackle. Their ball moves so quickly hand to hand that you wonder whether it's really worth it, because you arrive to put the tackle on, the ball's already been released. So it's a very difficult one to play against, but if you keep at them, as they showed last time, and get them even on the fourth and the fifth hand pass, the turnover, you're away.
So will 500 possessions win you the game or lose you the game?
I think if they have 500, they'll win.
They'll win, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Collingwood continue to kick inaccurately, doesn't matter how many possessions they get.
The last 4 times Collingwood have played the Cats, the Pies have kicked 39 goals, 65.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
You should be aiming at minimum 60% accuracy, and they're going in,
40%, are they?
What was those stats again there, Drew?
39-65.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be 40%.
Players heading over to the members wing to observe the formalities of the evening. If you weren't with us earlier on the late change at Collingwood, Leon Davis left out of the team for strategic reasons, and Tyson Goldsack takes his place. With Geelong and Collingwood lined up facing each other and the umpires in between, let's take you to the centre of the MCG. The AFL's MC, Craig.
Welcome you to the first preliminary final here tonight at the MCG. Would you now please join with the coaches, players and umpires as we stand for the Australian National Anthem.
Looking across, there's only a handful of spare seats here and there, with some 90,000 surely in attendance.
Well, the MCC, who are usually pretty good, they budgeted for 95,000 tonight, and I reckon we'll give it a big shake, because all the members have turned up. There's not a spare seat in the members. It's fantastic.
Kelly Underwood's in the front row. Kel, good evening.
Jared, they've been piling in since 5 o'clock. We had 87,000 here for last year's prelim. In 2007, when these two sides played, there were 98,000. You're right, there isn't a spare seat in the house, and I'm hearing it might be a lockout for MCC members. The Weather Bureau says no showers forecast, currently 12 degrees. It is very windy down here at ground level though, a westerly blowing from the city end across the ground to the Punt Road end, so certainly conditions a little tricky early on. Confirming that late change for the Pies, Leon Davis out. The club says he pulled up with a tight hamstring after training yesterday, believe it if you want. Tyson Goldsack in, he'll start on the bench with Sidebottom, McCaffrey and Blair, and for the Cats on the bench, Wojcinski, Milburn, Hawkins and Varco. You can just sense the anticipation, the excitement. The Melbourne Cricket Ground is energised. Jared, can't wait for this one. I'll throw it back upstairs to you.
And Nick Maxwell has won the toss for the Pies, and they'll go to the city end, so left to right on your radio dial in the first quarter. It's also down towards the Collingwood Social Club, so not a bad place for the Pies to be going with Travis Cloke in the first term.
Peter Schwab, what's it to be?
For me, it's Collingwood in a very, very tight match.
David Parkin?
I've just got the omen, lining up in the pre-match anthem. Collingwood locked together with arms round their neck, and Geelong just casually standing there with metres between each player. The team versus the stars. Team will win.
Chris Connolly.
Well, Collingwood looked very nervous out there, Jared, and Geelong just looked cool, calm and collected. So I'm going to go for Geelong in this one, David and Peter, because if they get up, I'm going to look at genius amongst you three up here.
Drew Morford.
Oh, I'm going for Collingwood, but when I tossed the coin, it landed on its edge, so I really don't know.
And I'll be for the Cats.
I noticed that when the coaches left the ground, Bomber Thompson, the last bloke he spoke to was Josh Hunt. He had a good long whisper in his ear, and I think Hunt is just hanging on by the skin of his teeth, so it might have been a last-minute rever.
Less vocal than last week. Their exchange last week, you could hear it from quite a way away. Players in their positions for this preliminary final, and that it works its way around the stands at the G. This is the match most anticipated. Collingwood and Geelong. Drew Morford on Grandstand AFL.
A Swan in the middle, nobody standing on his feet, nobody going shoulder to shoulder with him. The Brownlow favourite, he won every award. Up goes the bounce, terrific bounce. Jolly gets hands to it, but thrown by Ablett. Little hand pass to Varco, goes behind him. Varco recovers, hand pass to Steve Johnson, bowled over in a good tackle. The crumbs come Collingwood's way. Luke Ball for the Pies, goes the short pass, and Lee Brown marks in between wing and half forward. He kicks long inside the 50. A chance here for Collingwood. It's knocked away from Dawes, comes to the front to Didak, sweeps the hand pass to Ball, the ruckman, Jolly the ruckman. He goes for goal, but he hooks the kick off the right, and it is out of bounds on the full, missing the left hand behind post, and it'll be a free kick into play. No score in the first 35 seconds.
Joel Corey to restart play. Collingwood zone well set as it always is. The kick is long for Ottens, who's overwhelmed by the numbers. Maxwell the spoil. Ball pushed to the side of the pack and out of play.
Am I right here? That's a bit interesting. Ling has gone to Thomas. Yes, that's an interesting one.
And Ablett and Swan are pretty close to each other, and Bartell in there with Swan as well.
Lonergan has Cloak. Tuvey has Chapman at the other end. He started forward. Thomas from the throw-in, taking in the two-man tackle. Kelly and Ling got him. Bartell almost got away with it, but he didn't. Pendlebury comes up with it. Hand pass to Swan. Mown down in the tackle. Stokes came flying at him. Spillage falls to Beams. Kicks to the top of the goal square. They wrestle each other out of it. Cloak and Lonergan. Scarlett paddles to the boundary. Josh Hunt there as well. Lee Brown sees it out in the right forward pocket to be thrown in.
The half of the booing couldn't see what we could see. The hand pass came out. All those with their back to it thought it was a throw. Good call, umpire.
Throw in forward pocket for the Pies. Ottens wins for the Cats though. It goes goalwards, closer to goal now for Collingwood. Ground level ball, Beams on the ground. Comes to Jolly, hand pass, Didak snaps. Partly smothered off the boot, and it just falls over the behind line for the first score of the night. A behind to Collingwood after 2 minutes, 1-0.
Kick in to Selwood, right back pocket, goes quickly, riskily. Maxwell led Varco, overran it, getting onto it as Corey, having trouble getting rid of it. Shoveled it out the back as a free kick, just a little too much contact on Joel Corey. Hand pass to Taylor, gives it on to Ablett and back to Harry. Harry Taylor sends them out to the members' wing. Mooney lets it land and it bounces away from him. Reid stays right with him. Mooney and Reid out toward the boundary. Mooney hand passes it up the line. Reid brought him down. No free kick. Mooney dives in. Over the top went Thomas. No free kick. Collingwood emerge. Swan up to Didak. Right half forward. Had a bounce. Delivered to full forward. Lonergan leads Cloak. Cloak gave an almighty shove in the back. That one was seen.
What a shocker. I mean, why would you do that at this stage? Why don't you make an honest contest?
He couldn't get there. He just took that option.
Lonergan by hand with the free to Taylor, to Ablett. Ablett mown down in a good tackle. Back to Taylor. Hand pass up to Enright. Still inside defensive 50. To Ablett, who does a U-turn. Turns backwards and not a good kick. Trouble for you, Corey. It comes to Ablett again. He kicked from the back pocket. This time with depth and plenty of distance on the kick. And O'Brien is there to mark for the Pies. He shows Steve Johnson the ball and takes it away. Kicks long to full forward. Big leap by Cloak and the mark right in front. 30 metres from goal.
Well, the game's on Collingwood's terms here. Midfield turnover after midfield turnover for Geelong, and Collingwood are getting good looks inside forward 50, and Geelong better smarten up with their movement right from the start. Gary Ablett should have drove that ball forward out of the centre bounce and given his teammates an opportunity up forward.
Pretty critical kick for Cloak, just for his confidence. He should get it. He's only about, 25, 30 out directly in front almost.
Pies have the inside 50s, 4-0. This for the first goal of the game. Cloak off the left, rams it home.
Yep.
Collingwood 1-1, Geelong yet to score.
Well, only in time we'll know how significant that was in terms of the players' own confidence, in terms of their capacity to get a result. But they've been in for a long time, hadn't got a result. So often in the last few weeks, teams have either haven't been able to shoot on goal, having had it in, or have kicked 0-4 or 0-5 and end up losing the game. So from Collingwood's capacity to deliver, that is the best start they could have had.
David Parkin on grandstand AFL with Peter Schwab and Chris Connolly.
I don't think they haven't gone inside, Drew. Is that right? They have not gone inside their forward 50, Geelong. And we're 5 minutes in, so it's 5-zip. Chris made the call, mucking around with the ball. Pressure's on them with Collingwood.
Couldn't get out of the Magpies forward line. And that's been the trap that Mick Malthouse's men have laid so well this season. Centre bounce. Selwood wins the clearance. Hand pass to Ablett. Spreads it out to the southern wing. Varco marks. He's manned by Maxwell. Feeds the hand pass up the line to Bartell. Now to Chapman. On to Kelly. Under pressure. Got it out to Varco, who's loose. His kick inside the 50 is poor. It bounces to Ling. Swan wraps him up. Ling gets it onto his boot. It lands near full forward, but side bottom is onto it. Hand pass to O'Brien at full back. He works them out into the pocket and Swan is onto the bouncing ball. He comes off half back. Had a bounce. Kicks up to the wing. Didak was the target. It bounces up over the field. Corey and Cloak. Corey pushes it. Harry Taylor gets there. They haven't cleared it for Kaplan and Didak. They're on. They're out. Pendlebury's got it. The goal is open. The Pies have two. Scott Pendlebury puts it into the jubilant terraces. It's 2-1, 13-0 after 6 minutes.
And that came off at the Swans.
I don't have to jump off.
Yeah, no. The Swans, the Swans run out of the back half, and when he didn't deliver it short, he normally did. He actually went quite long to a contest, which caused a bit of havoc on the end of it. It came out of a bit of confusion rather than an accurate delivery in. I thought, I haven't seen him do that. He usually draws the ball back under, gets someone coming at him, but he went over the top of that, and that was a terrific effort to, out of that confusion, to create two beautiful handballs and a free run by Pendlebury. He got 40 metres into the goal.
And the contested possession win was defining.
Yep.
So Scott Pendlebury in his 100th game gets a first quarter goal, and the Pies have the early break. There's the bounce in the middle. Otten's up early, comes to Pendlebury, has an air swing with his kick, but he's going to get a free kick. Interfered with in the act of kicking just forward of the circles. It's all Collingwood early in the game. Pendlebury, who missed the finals last year with a broken leg. He goes for the short pass to centre half forward, and little Blair comes up and takes the mark, front edge of the centre square. He gets a lead, and the kick doesn't reach the target. Chopped off by Wojcinski, who hits it hard. Gets the hand pass away to Ablett. To end right to Ling on defensive 50. Ling round the corner. Trouble for you, Wojcinski. O'Brien comes and knocks him out of the contest. It comes through to Mooney on centre wing. Hand pass to Steve Johnson. Wojcinski's followed up and leaves it for Ablett, who's getting heaps of the pill. Ablett puts the ball out in front of Chapman, who runs onto it at half forward. He dodges inboard. He gets to 45. Chappie for goal. And it's out on the line. Not through for a rush behind. Terrific defensive play by Nick Maxwell to get there just in time. But it was Geelong's best passage.
Maxwell loads up the kick in and it covers the terrain. Thomas marks and goes instantaneously up to McCapper. Bouncing ball right against the boundary. Inside the 50, Dawes. What a setup from the kick in.
Yeah, they got caught out, Geelong.
Dawes opens things up. He's kicking it for Wellingham. It sits. He does. He gets the front on contact. And gets up and kicks it out of bounds, but it's coming back.
Well, Geelong, the way they'd zoned up for the kicking, came in so quick that Dawes was the odd man out. They couldn't get back. Ling was belting down to try and cover, but the speed of the ball movement out of the kick-in caught them out. They're in a bit of strife, Geelong. They're looking slower. Well, the Pies are sharp as.
What about Stokes' poor decision down here, Pete?
Yeah, he should have gone for the ball.
He should have gone for the ball, and he tried to protect the player from the ball. He did neither.
Sharrod Wellingham has this shot at goal. He is close in. Angle is negligible. Wellingham delivers the goal. Collingwood have three of them. And both Miles in them, Pendlebury and now Wellingham, who's in game number 50. It's 3-1-19 Collingwood. Geelong 1 behind at 9 minutes gone.
Do I need to explain that going back into the Geelong goal? Because the long kick came in by... yes. Who was
it was Chapman who broke through.
He got over the top to Stokes, who was at the back. All Stokes had to do was to actually go for the ball, which was going to land behind him, and he decided he'd take the Collingwood opponent out. He did neither. He didn't hit the player, didn't hit the ball. The ball was touched by the Collingwood defender, I don't know who it was, and they've lost it. It's gone coast to coast, goal.
I'll tell you what, when you attack like that and it's chaotic for the Geelong players, if you don't kick a goal on the counter-attack, you're wide open.
Bounce in the middle, Hawkins in ruck. Collingwood have had 35 possessions to 25 and 3 goals to 0. Kelly gets a hand pass out though. It's taken by Bartell, who floats one out wide looking for Ling, but it's chopped off by Thomas, who kicks towards the boundary line and himself. He regathers the ball. Brilliant play by Daisy Thomas. Hand pass to Pendlebury. They're chopping them apart. Pendlebury's kick in for Blair. Spore put on by Enright. Chance for side bottom, but he stood up in the tackle, going nowhere, and the umpire comes in to ball it up. Ray Chamberlain umpiring tonight with Brett Rosebery and Sean Ryan. We've played 10 minutes. It's 3-1 to a point. The Cats in charge, rather the Pies in charge.
Bounce into the turf. Martell goes third man up. Didn't do a lot with it on the tap. Outlet's trying to pull it clear. Side bottom sticks the tackle. Chapman feeds it out the back. This is a real muddle. Hawkins clears it to Enright, who kicks in an awful hurry. Mooney up on the wing, can't trap it. Shaw knocked it out to the advantage of Swan, and the Pies are going to put it back to the forward line. High ball. McCaffrey arrives late. Side bottom knocks it on. Pendlebury. Marvellous sidestep. Broke a tackle. Kicks inside the 50. Bouncing ball. Cloak outnumbered. Scarlett gathers. Geelong are finally out and running. Vichinsky has it. 2 bounces to cross halfway. Make it 3. Now 4. Needs help. Hand pass to Chapman. Back to Varco. Runs to the 50. Kicks at the big sticks. Hits the targets. That's the footy they'll try to harness to combat what Collingwood is doing. Geelong 1-1-7. The Magpies 3-1-19. 11 minutes in.
And that's why Vichinsky's important. He's got the leg speed, and every now and then if you can break the game open and cover the ground and take players out of zones, and that's exactly what he was able to do, and caught him on the rebound there.
Absolutely, and I just made the comment before Wojcicki got it. No doubt that Collingwood are quicker in acceleration and leg speed over the ground. Collingwood looked a mile in front, yet Wojcicki got hold of it then. Varco opened up the 2 really quick players. They left them in their wake, and it was a beautiful finish to get a goal. They desperately needed that goal.
And Varco laid a terrific shepherd at half-back when Wojcicki started his run, finished up kicking the goal. Ablett out of the middle, kicks to Chapman. The score put on. It comes to Maxwell of the Pies, who clears from half-back. Over centre wing, Didak. His opponent goes to ground. Ball comes to Brown. Leroy goes long with a spiral ball from a mile out. It takes a big bounce. You won't believe it. It goes through for a goal. The biggest off-break that Murray's ever bowled, and he's kicked it from a mile out.
It's a bad sign. It's a bad sign for the Geelong Football Club.
Gee.
Lee Brown couldn't do it again if he tried.
Well, where was it going? From our vantage point here, was going to miss the left-hand goalpost to be 5 metres round, out of bounds. Not on the full, but a roll over. And it's done. It has done the legitimate...
It did it twice. The first bounce wasn't going to go through. It turned again on the second bounce.
I'm just asterisking it there at that moment.
Yeah, that's...
You know you're out of luck when that happens.
Well, it's the 12 minutes, actually about the 13-minute mark of the first quarter, Pete. That's the time.
It's been a different way, but it was Shane Warne, the bowl of the century, wasn't it? It was very similar.
It'll be shown a lot, that one.
4-1 to 1-1. Collingwood by 3 goals. Hawkins against Jolly. They kept each other away from it. Wellingham the clearance inside the 50 again. Bouncing ball, Lee Brown. Can't gather it this time. Corey to Scarlett to Ablett, who runs the corridor and kicks high to the 50. Needs Mooney. Stokes again plays the man. Free kick against Stokes, I'm presuming.
Yes, you called it perfectly, George. Stupid free kick.
Subi out to the wing, wants Swan. Bartell closes, makes a contest, prevents the mark, but Swan, great hands, out to goal zigzag. Bartel on the follow-up tackle. Back with Swan over the top to Shaw. Selwood comes at him. Oh, he went straight over the top of him. Shaw ducked his head and he gets a free kick for around the neck.
Ablett's had 11 possessions in 13 minutes at the start of the game. Dane Swan on the other side had just 6.
Yeah.
They're both running amok.
Yeah, they're head-to-head, almost.
Here's Ben Johnson for Collingwood. From outside half forward, he goes long to full forward.
Interchange infringement.
Oh, yes, the orange flag has come out.
Against Collingwood.
And it's against Collingwood. Is it Shaw came on the ground before Wellingham got off? There's much flag waving going on down below us here. And it is going to be Geelong's ball.
Does it go from where it's kicked? Is it right?
Enright has it in the back pocket, and he's coming right up towards, well, in between half-back and wing. No, further.
So it's
plus a 50-metre penalty.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't surprise me. Collingwood looked very nervous before the game, as you probably would be, but they're very, very jumpy before the game. They've come out of the blocks, but there's errors that can come in.
So Selwood takes the free kick at half forward, into Kelly, away to Hunt, who kicks to full forward. Podgy Adley in front, crashes to ground, can't take the mark. Rode by Varco, gets the hand pass away. Oh, Johnson had his head down, and he gets a high tackle. And that's one they will have to look at in the match review panel. Do you reckon it's Milburn? I'd love to see it, because I reckon he ducked his head.
It's 2 in a row. So one out on the winger player ducked his head and got the free kick as well.
He actually drilled his
knees.
Well, it's not a free kick.
Correct.
No, he drilled him with his head.
You watch.
He makes a choice here. You watch. Bang. Down it goes. Straight. Oh,
That's just not a free kick.
That is terrible
So
umpiring.
it's against Nathan Brown, and the kick taken by Milburn from inside the 50 is sprayed well right and out of bounds. It didn't score, so there's some justice there. The Pies are 4-1, the Cats 1-1.
Shaw restarts play across the face of goal for Swan, who has another bounce and delivers around the wing. McCaffrey's motoring, gets there and hangs on low down. Leading Taylor to the ball, he kicks it up the line. Lee Brown, right half forward. They've got numbers on deep. The kick's a bit wobbly, but it lands with Didak.
Well, he's loose in the 50. He was able to run into space. It wasn't a great kick.
No, but
a bit of luck.
But he was
no
working
one was
up
with
at
him.
it. No one was with him. That's happened now 4 times going to their 50. Players have had just simple, easy access to the ball.
He'll kick this. He's such a good kick.
Dog of a kick by Lee Brown. His previous kick went 100 miles, and that went about 30 metres.
Alan Didak, right forward pocket. Doesn't deviate from the line. Delivers a goal and slots it. The Maggies are as accurate as you would like. 5-1, 31 to Geelong, 1-1-7. Middle stages of the opening term.
Well, if it wasn't at the 13 minute which you marked down, Peter, it might be at the 16 minute. It's only 3 minutes later.
Well,
6 shots to 2.
They just look sharper. But mind you, the ball's going in Geelong. When it goes in Geelong's forward 50, it's coming out pretty quick.
Well, they do test you out, Geelong. They'll zone off, really test the kicker, and they've been really balanced on their kicks inside 50. And they've had a fair few options. He wasn't the only option with the defender 10 metres off him.
Dawes was deeper, yeah. They're in trouble at the moment, Geelong. Real trouble.
And the extra man, Chris, pushing back.
Bounce in the midfield. Won by Jolly. Wellingham gets it going a bit further forward. Comes to side bottom. Hard ball to win. Still bobbling around on the ground. And it's going nowhere. Selwood has it. And the umpire will bounce. Wellingham and Selwood have a few words. Well, Collingwood last week, last game, 17-22. Previous, 13-17. Previous, 6 goals, 18. Tonight they've started 5 goals, 1. So Collingwood fans would be cock-a-hoop with the way the Pies have been accurate tonight.
Explain that, Chris, because that's interesting now. As soon as the stoppage happened.
Yeah, look, it's usually Dale Thompson or a half-back flanker. They create a loose man behind the ball. They're short at the stoppage, but when the ball comes into play, they create overlap players. And they've won the clearance, one short. Now it's one-on-one up in Collingwood's forward line.
Beams roams the hit out, kicks inside 50. It's punched down to the front. A snap for goal by Pendlebury. It bounces away from goal.
So the concept is that if you've got a loose man behind the play, you think, okay, you've got to play if it's kicked forward, but really the midfield can spread forward aggressively because they've got cover.
Collingwood deep forward. Otten's onto the tap. McCaffrey nearly had the footy. Side bottom dead to Pendlebury. Run down in a tackle. The ball is loose. Ablett has it. Hand pass into the back pocket for Milburn. Got around the first line of defence and spreads it back to Ablett. He runs to half back. Kicks forward to the middle. It's pretty wide open. Mooney and Reid. Reid makes the spoil. Burns hits the ball hard. Feeds off the hand pass to Baczynski. Trying to burn offshore. He dropped the ball on the bounce. Shaw lays the tackle. Baczynski hand passes for the boundary. Throw it in.
Well, lucky Shaw was the one chasing there. Otherwise, Baczynski had the speed to get around.
Ablett's up to 13 possessions in 19 minutes. This could be a finals record if he keeps it up. Throw in. Comes to Ablett again. 14. The hand pass up towards the 50. It sits well for Burns. Puts the hand pass out wide. Kicked by Kelly to the goal square. Nobody home. And the mark taken by Maxwell. Collingwood skipper on his own. Has a running bounce. 3 or 4 bounces to get to the 50. And then wobbles the ball up towards centre wing. Dawes, he was outnumbered and nearly had a chance to get the ball, but it's going to be a Geelong free kick, and the free will go to Joel Corey just behind the wing.
Umpire saying it's got to be Lonergan who takes the free kick.
That's a good insight that Chris has given here, because Geelong load up at the stoppage, but Collingwood dropped the one off. Yet Collingwood have won most of those stoppages. It's amazing.
Lonergan commits to the long kick to the 50. Mooney's outnumbered, got a big shove, no free kick. Reid takes the mark. Maxwell looks like he's down. Kick into the middle of the ground, bouncing ball. Didak is onto it, doesn't turn, gives the hand pass instead defensively to Ben Johnson, and back now to Didak. Off to Swan, who'll kick it sideways to Reid. Maxwell is up and he's waved away the trainers. Reid across full back just about to O'Brien, who takes off, and the All-Australian defender has a couple of bounces. Chips the kick out to Thomas. Thomas looking up the line, ignored Dawes, had a bounce, feeds it off to Shaw. They cross halfway, and it kicks out of bounds on the full. Shaw made a mess of it.
It's okay to play the boundary, but you've got to get inside the boundary. Ling with the free kick. 5-1-31 to 1-1-7. Geelong well in charge. Said it again. Collingwood well in charge at the 21-minute mark. Ling with his free from half-back, up towards a pack at the centre wing. Punch to the front to Bartel, who kicks back into that pack. Taken by Brown, who gets distance again towards the 50. But Taylor is back there to take the mark for the Cats. Spreads it, cross in front of goal. Scarlett runs onto it. Juggles but marks. Gets the kick away to Milburn. Didn't get a kind bounce. He ducked over the ball and took a high tackle from Beams and will take a free kick. Had time to set up here, the Cats, as Collingwood all get back. Ball comes into Scarlett. He kicks to 2-on-2 on the 50. Harry O'Brien with a double fister. Gets it out of there. Comes to Wellingham. Left half-back flank, Great Southern stand side. Wellingham's kick over the wing, and Dawes with a good lead. Marks just inside the boundary line. That's the way the Pies play it. Around the white line. Dawes now squares it inboard. He comes to Beams. The colourful sleeve. He's looking back and sideways more than forwards. And now he waits long enough to kick to Swan. It was a bit too high for him. He juggled it and couldn't complete the mark inside the boundary line. And so it'll be a boundary throw-in. So that was hugging the boundary line, but wasn't good. 5-1 to 1-1, Collingwood.
Collingwood side of the middle at the throw-in. Hawkins and Lee Brown, the understudies in the ruck. Brown clearly wins it down to the front, but Bartel's onto it. Hand pass to Selwood, gives it on to Chapman, back to Selwood, taken high by Swan, puts it onto the right boot. Geelong kicking efficiency is terrible at the moment. Ball lands at half forward. O'Brien shared it with Wellingham, and O'Brien kicked it back to the wing. Hawkins hits Lee Brown hits him. Chapman's dragged off it by Pendlebury. Being played in close quarters now. McCaffrey up to Lee Brown. They clear it up to the 50. But Scarlett's camped and marks and comes running out. Hand pass to Ling. Back to Scarlett. Ran into Thomas. They force the turnover. And it's wide open.
Over the top.
Beams puts it to Pendlebury. Puts it to goal. Pendlebury with 2 and Collingwood has made a dominant start. 6-1-37 to Geelong 1-1-7 after 23 minutes.
Well, classic turnover in the part of the ground where you're going to get hurt. Geelong tried to run it, but the pressure was too good. once they lost the ball, they had no coverage going back the other way, and Pendlebury, who's been outstanding, hurts them by foot from 40 out.
And they just made 4 interchanges at once, Collingwood, and Pendlebury, who's kicked 2 first-quarter goals, was one of them. 6-1, 37. The inaccuracy is gone. Geelong 1-1.
It's because they're under no pressure, Drew. They're getting in actual positions where they're not wide on shots on goal, or otherwise they're just running into goals with no real pressure.
Well, there hasn't been one difficult shot, has there?
Well,
every ball's got back into the corridor.
Dydex was arguably on an angle, but it was favoured his left side. No, you're right, David. They're just getting shots on goal.
His degree of difficulty was 10.
Yeah, that's true.
They bounced back in the middle. Hawkins, a little hand pass to Ablett, who's pinned by Brown. Lee Brown again at his 3rd club. Who would have thought it? He has been on fire. And he took the hardest man in the game to tackle, and he just poleaxed him in the bullseye. Another bounce. Plenty of players around this stoppage. And it comes Bartell's way. He might have been taken to ground. No whistle on the play. We're going to get a 3rd bounce. It's gone slightly Collingwood's way. Gerard, you talked about the Cats' efficiency, just 59% early.
So we squabble over the centre clearance here. 3 up for Geelong. Corey knocks it clear. Down to Stokes. Turns and sets it to the forward line. He didn't find a target. He took it straight to Maxwell, who was coming up as Ablett was going back. The Magpies skipper brings it out for Luke Ball. Hugs the boundary on the southern side. Hung there a little. Kelly the spoil. It's all about the drop. Ben Johnson overruns it for Collingwood, but he's got the presence of mind to get back onto it. And feed it forward to the play to Shaw. And he's away. He's had 2 bounces. He kicks to full forward. Jolly and Scarlett. Scarlett can't mark. Didak plucks it off the turf. Hand pass to Jolly. Knocked off it. Hawkins there to retrieve on the last line for the Cats. Give it to Hunt, who'll kick out of the defensive area for Varco.
It was a good kick. Varco marks and kicks to centre wing. Mooney, spoiled by Reid, comes to the front. The Goldsack. Last minute inclusion for Leon Davis. He gets the hand pass to Swan, who kicks it end on end up towards centre half forward. Good trap by McCaffer. Hand pass to Shaw. Puts it wide to Ben Johnson. Good off the left. He works inside Ling. Gets back to the left. Pings for goal. And Johnson gets another one for the Pies. It's 7-1. 7-1-43 to Geelong 1-1-7.
That the loose man behind the ball, there's a centre clearance, goes forward. Ablett's got everyone beat on the second phase run, except for Maxwell, who's behind the ball, intercepts the mark, away they go. This game is on Collingwood's terms. Back transition goals, Geelong are the best in the competition. The extra man behind the ball's cutting off all the options. The pressure from behind the ball carrier is terrific. And they're spreading hard forward with the cover Collingwood have got behind the ball, and it's just overlap goals. They've had easy shots at goal.
Chris, Geelong must know Collingwood play that way. They've allowed Collingwood just to drop off. Surely they need to change their tactics.
Well, the exact same thing happened last time they played.
Well, Collingwood are a goal away from having this one at quarter time. Ball to Swan, high inside the 50. Cloak got himself loose, and he's plucked it 40 from goal.
I know they're a great side, Geelong, but seriously, they are a rabble at the moment.
Well, I've got to ask the question, why, when there were 4 or 5 and they're going as hard as they are, why don't Geelong ever, they just take you on and continue to take you on? There's never a change of momentum. They never slow down and try to get the ball under control at any stage. They've not even attempted to do that. Change their structure.
Kick the ball around, slow it off, take the speed out of the game.
Why, just taking them on? They're getting absolutely annihilated. There's been no change in method at all.
What an opportunity for Cloak from 51 metres out. He kicks at goal and drags it near side.
I think the answer to that, your great strength is your great weakness. That Geelong back themselves in, and they're play creators, and plan B isn't that. They don't coach against the opposition. They play their way.
Scarlett kicks in with distance. Lee Brown puts on the spoil, gets it back to the 50. Great tackling. They're working really hard in there. Cloak later tackle. It spills to Lee Brown.
He gets the hand pass away. Comes to Blair. Hoists it high to full forward. Beams running in the same direction as the ball. Makes it a contest. But Bartel gets the hand pass to Corey, who finds Chapman, who needs to get told to play on by the umpire. Chappie caught by surprise with that one and kicked it out of bounds on the full.
There's a classic example we've seen during the week of Chapman being put under that pressure and kicking it straight up there. There's another repeat right now. Free kick by Maxwell towards full forward. Pack gathers, tackle laid. I'm sure the umpire. That's a free kick. Free kick Geelong's way, and Chapman will take it from the back pocket. 44-7, Collingwood.
Late in the opening term, Chapman keeps it low, kicks it for Hunt. 40 away from the defensive goal. And Hunt moved like a man determined to slow the play down. Short ball for Harry Taylor, gets it in the fingertips.
Better, and this is what I think should have happened 10 minutes ago.
Scott Virginski out on the members' wing.
Should have, David, but
so they're covering up at 7 goals to 1. Virginski works it down the line. Long kick. Mooney and Ling, the two cats. Maxwell and Reid. Maxwell makes the spoil. Burns against the boundary to Kelly. Couldn't keep it in.
I think defensively, Geelong rolled up so far that the only way they could move the ball forward was slowly. And you're talking about that roll-up pressure should have been there from the outset, David, you suggested.
Absolutely.
Between the wing and half forward for Geelong. Knocked down to Kelly. Just about disputing the ball with Silwood. Ball got almost clear. He's been taken high. Thought he got trapped around the ankles as well, so you could have it 6 one way, half a dozen the other.
I'm not sure it should have happened from the start, Chris, because that would be conceding that your method is.
4-1, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly. Once it was got to 4-1, the panic stations, not panic stations, but the method should have come and changed.
A fine but breezy night at the MCG, and Collingwood on fire. A funny old kick by Ball up in the air, not good, and Milburn takes the mark back towards half-back, into the middle of the ground to Chapman. He finds Burns in the circle, and O'Brien gets him. Burns hand pass to Bartel, who kicks towards half forward. On the bounce for Podgiadli, he can't gather. In there is Burns, taken to ground, the good tackle. Gets the hand pass wide to Bartel. Dispossessed, comes to Podgiadli. Look at Collingwood's pressure. They can't find breathing space here. The Premiers, and it's ripped away from them by Tooby. Little pass out of there, marked by Didak on the run, skirting the boundary line, forward of the wing. He passes to half forward, and Cloak marks 65 from goal. Their forward pressure then, Collingwood, pries the ball clear and might set up a shot for goal, but Cloak's kick is disappointing. It's inside the 50, but hasn't found a target. Dawes gets it wide. Varco is there. He can't find any breathing space. He goes for the boundary line, deliberate, but the umpire says no, throw it in.
I feel that Collingwood's run through the midfield from the 20-minute mark has dropped off a little bit. They haven't got that overlap through forward midfield they had earlier, but nevertheless continue to win contested possessions.
In the Collingwood forward line, Chapman from the stoppage to Milburn and Scarlett, and back to Chapman. He wedges it out of the defensive area. Bartel in the marking duel, can't grab it. Tuvey to Swan to Tuvey. He'll kick the Pies inside the 50. Too strong for the targets, although Taylor dropped it under front on pressure from Dawes. A further kick's going to cost Collingwood a 50-metre penalty.
Well, he was under front on pressure, and I think the free kick was there, but he still should have marked the ball. That's not a good sign, I would have thought.
It was Harry Taylor who dropped it with Dawes coming back. As Pendlebury, he took the additional kick. So right on the breath of the quarter-time siren, Harry Taylor up into the centre square. He'll kick it off to Hunt. That's as far as we'll go. The Collingwood fans rise in the terraces because their team has put up 7 goals, 2 in the opening term to Geelong's 1-1. And it's a big down payment on the night. Collingwood by 37 points at the first break. 2 goals for Pendlebury, the rest are singles. Didak, Lee Brown, Wellingham, Ben Johnson and Cloak. For Geelong, Varco has their lone major. It's Collingwood by 37 on Grandstand AFL here on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Digital Radio.
Great Australian Rabbit Stories from ABC Books is a marvellous collection of true life tales that give a remarkable insight into life on the land, as seen through the eyes of those who've been at the front line of Australia's relentless battle with the rabbit. Full of heart, humour, sadness and adventure, these stories perfectly capture the Aussie spirit. Great Australian Rabbit Stories is available now from ABC shops, centres, good bookshops and online.
Grandstand AFL.
Corey pushes it. Harry Taylor gets there. They haven't cleared it. McCaffrey and Nidak. They're on. They're out. Pendlebury's got it. The goal is open. The Pies have two. Viginski has it. Two bounces to cross halfway. Make it three. Now four. Needs help. Hand pass to Chapman. Back to Barco. Runs to the 50. Kicks at the big sticks. Hits the target.
Ball comes to Brown. Leroy goes long with a spiral ball from a mile out. It takes a big bounce. You won't believe it. It goes through for a goal. The biggest off break that Millwall's ever bowled.
Hand pass to Ling. Back to Scarlett. Ran into Thomas. They force the turnover. And it's wide open.
Over the top.
Beams puts it to Pendlebury. Puts it to goal.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio.
It's Collingwood by 37. Chris Connolly, Peter Schwab, David Parker.
I think Chris should elaborate on, just for our listeners, on what they did, Collingwood, particularly at stoppages where they pushed that extra man behind and what that was able to create, and why Geelong in the end couldn't handle that.
Well, dropping a player out behind the ball has you one short at the clearance, so that reduces your chances of winning it. Now, Geelong are a great clearance team, so you in some ways may concede that a bit, but they have one contested ball, Collingwood, and done quite well. Nevertheless, what it allows the environment to do is create a lot of confidence for the midfield, for Collingwood to spread hard forward. And I'll tell you what, in the first 20 minutes, they spread so hard forward when they win the ball, or so wide to get the counter-attack out of defence, that they got easy overlap goals into forward 50. And also, obviously, when Geelong midfield spread forward, they do have an extra number, the loose player will cut someone off a pass at the pass. And there was a classic example when Ablett spread forward, the ball was kicked to him, he would have marked the ball, kicked the goal, Maxwell intercepted, marked the ball, and all of a sudden you got a counter-attack and they're very much on the back foot. And it's given Collingwood a lot of confidence that they're getting the game on their terms. Now you can argue whether that tactic would work, because it has, and their plans are going well. I mean, the confidence that gives the two teams immeasurable.
Chris, clearly the Geelong box can see that happening, see whose man it is. Why push the extra man up? Why don't they say, all right, we'll drop one back too? Because there was no protection for the Geelong defence. There was no extra man ever getting back. Maybe they're slow, but even if that defender thought, hang on, there's that many blokes around here, we'll do the same thing and I'll at least get back and hold them up. And then I agree with you, David. Once the game was going at breakneck speed, and Geelong...
What was that?
Geelong did nothing. You're right. Geelong did nothing to slow it down. They tried to play at a pace where they were getting slaughtered.
But look, can I just, it just for interested people, because we talk in footy at all levels, we talk about numbers around the ball, more numbers there, better chance of winning the contest, but actually more ain't better. It's, in a sense, mathematically it is, but the contest it's more about the organisation around that and who does what job. I can't believe, it's terrific to watch Collingwood organise it. It's different people in the back half or from the midfield who are actually directing it to happen. I love watching the understanding and the leadership taken by the players. I don't understand why Geelong a player can look up and say, one more in here is not going to help. We're not going to get the contest because I had one. I'm going to drop off here and create a way out for them, or some protection at the back. Haven't done it at all.
Well, in Geelong's defence, I mean, every team in the competition for 4 and 5 years has thrown every tactic under the sun at them, and they've just thought their way through it and stuck to their guns, and that's what they continue to do. They can, continue to zone off. They'll get you on the counter attack, Geelong, if you don't use the ball well, and Collingwood have used the ball well, and they've won contested possessions and created turnover.
I know Drew's going to the stats. Look at this: 22 inside 50s to 8.
That's almost 4 times as good.
Well, it's going to be 88 to what? 32 by the end of the game.
Three times.
But David, here's an example of where more ain't better. Possessions in the first quarter: Geelong 121, Collingwood 93.
Yeah, 61 handballs to 29, kicking efficiency.
They are over.
But the handball is the one thing that gives you the chance against Geelong, and Collingwood have worked that out, and they continue to nail them. The number of times they hit it to a bloke deliberately who's under pressure, they know it is. They still think he's good enough to take it and get rid of it. Collingwood have prevented that from happening. To get rid of under pressure has cocked it up.
And look, the interchanges were 34 to 28, so Collingwood used 6 more interchanges in the first quarter. Just quickly, Swan 11 possessions, Didac 10, Pendlebury 8, and on the other side, Ablett 14 in the first quarter, 7 and 7, Chapman 11, and Scarlett with 8 possessions.
Look, damning statistic inside 50, and Mark Thompson just bolted straight out to the group, pulled him in, and he would have read the riot act. And I'll tell you what, the next 5 minutes Geelong are going to be throwing everything at him.
Well, he had him for the whole quarter time, start to finish. It wasn't until the first siren went that they broke up into the groups.
Well, he's given them the Gettysburg Address to get them up.
It's Collingwood by 37 points. Start of the second term will need to go again. Kelly Underwood.
Jared, Mark Thompson, as the boys were just saying, called the players straight into the huddle. It was controlled, it was measured, it was also a tongue lashing. The Pies rotations have been absolutely frantic in that first quarter. Dane Swan already off 3 times.
Ottens wins the tap at the start of the term. Down to Ablett, who adds another possession, but it's a false hand pass. Corey has to go and get it at centre half back. He's gone backwards and he's lost it. Didac kicks it to Cloak, feeds it to side bottom, and they open as they finish the first. Steals side bottom, Rams at home, and Collingwood lead by 43 points.
And it's just after the lashing. It's just what you don't want. If you coach there and you're giving a lashing, you think, well, at least we might ring this, but we're going to kick off and do the first one. It didn't look like it.
You know whose fault it is. Make no mistake, Scarlett's fault. Never, ever put any pressure on Dawes. Allowed him to run up. Thank you. No pressure. I'll handball it off. He just zones off, and he got slaughtered for it, and they got their right whack for that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Luke Ball's mum will be starting to get a bit shaky. They could be playing St Kilda next week, and I'm not sure whether she'll go.
And Ablett, even though he's getting a heap of the ball, if this continues, this could well be his last game for the Cats if he's going to go to the Gold Coast. From the bounce, it goes nowhere, and the umpire is going to ball it up again. He's just getting the ball time and time again, and so is Swan. Swan 11 possessions, Ablett 15.
Cameron Ling's gone forward to play on Maxwell. It's an interesting move.
Yeah, we thought they'd do that before the game, to be truthful.
Ottens gets a hand of the ball. It comes down to Luke Ball, who is swamped. The umpire will bounce again. It hasn't moved about 1 metre from the bullseye.
Goldsack goes back, and I'm just looking at, no, they've kept the extra man. That's all right if they use the ball from here. But what they're doing, they turn it back over, or they don't win it here.
Collingwood lead 50 to 7. It's bunted backwards here by the Pies. Ball is dispossessed. They're really hard at it now, the Cats, after that tongue lashing at quarter time. Ablett fights hard. Kelly in there, but can't get it free. And Collingwood's smothering here of the premiers is phenomenal. Tonight we've got the minor premiers of this year playing the premiers of last year, and so far this year's form is holding up.
Bounce still in the middle. Again, the Geelong with the extra men out, but Corey knocked it straight to Ben Johnson. He gave it up to Steve Johnson. The Cats do go forward. Mooney lunging in and takes the mark.
Good mark, strong. But he got in a one-on-one and he worked his body.
Well, that's what he is capable of doing that, Pete, and I'm with you. I haven't seen that strength and commitment from him for a long, long time. That was a great mark in circumstances which demanded it.
Cameron Mooney from the top of the goal square. Has been bedevilled by these from time to time. Mooney urgently needed. He finds the target for Geelong. Just their second goal against Collingwood's 8. 2-1-13 to 8-2-50. 3 minutes into the second term.
And they brought, you talk about that, they've taken Ling back or forward to do a defensive job. I would have suggested Varco, who has only played basically this year as a small running forward. He's up on the wing, and his speed might help that midfield sort of dominance. So they've made a couple of changes which they haven't been all that, keen to do in games that I've watched them.
And it just seemed the ball movement was a much more direct, not as lace out, but certainly put pressure on the Collingwood defenders, moving it forward close to goal.
Kelly.
Interesting move by Mark Thompson. Joel Selwood started this second quarter on the bench. He's just come on, and Gary Ablett has come off.
The bounce. Jolly hooks it. Steve Johnson gets a touch. Jolly crashes straight at him. Out of there by Bartel, a high ball. Bounces inside the 50. Mooney, some sort of a chance. Below him is Stokes. Goes to ground. Was it in the back? Yes. No. Yes. So it's a free kick to Stokes within goal kicking distance, about 35, maybe 40 metres from goal. And boy, do they need this.
Well, it was well done by Stevie Johnson, who came in off the square to win the centre clearance. And they got it down into one-on-one situation. And Collingwood are, like most sides, defenders don't like one-on-one football.
That was against the youngster Ben Reid. So Stokes from the free kick. 40 out from goal. Oh, hits the post. So the Cats 2 goals, 2. Trail Collingwood 8-2.
Ben Johnson quickly into the pocket on the play on from the kick in, but high outside the defence, and it's all Geelong. They fly against each other. Crumbs fall to Ablett, hand pass to Ling, off now to Kelly, kicks to full forward, Podsiadly in front, Mooney arrives late, knocks it down to Chapman, hemmed in on the boundary, couldn't keep it in. 10 metres around from the behind post.
I was just checking the quarter time stats. Podsiadly and Ottens have not touched the football.
Collingwood by 36. Geelong have it deep forward. Jolly wins the tap. Down to Tuvey. Caught with it for a moment. Wellingham prizes out a kick. And it will run out toward the boundary and sit there for Pendlebury. Keeps it in the field of play. Gets it onto the left boot. Picks out the target up the line indoors. Dawes turns to look at the forward setup. He thought about roosting it in long. With the mark sagging off, he cribs. Ham pass to Wellingham. Gets it to the right boot. It's going to come off. Not the greatest kick, but it lands with Macappa. Didak in the left forward pocket. Cuts in. Cuts round. Kicks at goal. It's going to land right in the square. Cloak! Cloak's taken the mark 2 metres out from goal.
Boy, Harry Taylor's having a nightmare of a final series.
It's too easy over here with no pressure on the ball at all.
And Didak's little sachet left and sachet right, and they were looking to see what he gets his time and space to do exactly what he wants to.
Travis Cloak, he has one. He couldn't miss his second, and he doesn't. Collingwood cancel out the Mooney goal. They set the lead at 42 points, 9-2 to 2-2.
I just think with I think it was Dawes, and they just watched him and allowed him to carry the ball forward. I was watching Scarlett. He's tried to zone back, and he was trying to help Lonergan out. And I think it was Macappa was the one who slipped in, and Didak ended up with it. The deep kick in, and defenders are worried one-on-one when the ball's deep. And Harry, I don't know what Harry Taylor was actually doing, but he lost sight, I think, of Cloak, and Cloak just took an easy mark in the goal square.
Yeah, a bit of interference with side bottom on his opponent too. Got pushed out, wasn't able to compete for it. That was missed by the umpire.
Dane Swan back on. Fairhaven looks as though he got one leg short than the other, but he'll probably get 4 possessions in the next 2 minutes. Steve Johnson out of the middle to Ablett. He goes back to Corey. A high ball to centre half forward. Mark that and play fair. Maxwell attempts to punch away. Comes to ground. Ball taken to ground. Is he holding it? No, he gets a free kick. It's ball just inside defensive 50. Does take a lot of whacks around the head. Goes for the short pass. Gee, that's barely 15 metres. The umpire pays the mark to Beams. I'm not sure I would have. Beams across the ground. Lee Brown still inside defensive 50. Draws a man and finds Ball, who'd run away from the free kick. So covering ground well. Kick by Ball. Perfect. Just inside the boundary line. Ben Johnson the mark. Centre wing. Hugging the boundary. Kick by Johnson with distance. Cloak is there, having a bit of a wrestle. Milburn hands to the ball, but can't take the mark. Cloak keeps it alive. Pendlebury keeps it alive. Selwood steals it. And little Blair has got him, and the umpire is going to ball it up. Collingwood 9-2, lead Geelong 2-2. Anybody give the Cats a chance? Is it all over?
It's over. It's over. Pack up and go home, Geelong. You can't win.
Hawkins knocks it wide of the pack, out near Selwood, but over the boundary.
That's one vote.
Well, no, I said I've written down 23-minute mark, game over. I wrote down that's first quarter, not this quarter.
Well, I think I was the only one who picked Collingwood. Is that right? I like your style.
No, I didn't give him.
Hawkins at the throw-in, can't make anything of it. Umpire circles for a while, but he is required.
Look, there's been turn-ups from this position in big preliminary finals and qualifying finals, but they're going to have to, from this point on, chip away and continually outscore Collingwood.
It's Collingwood by 42. Swan from the stoppage, out to McAfee, inside the 50. Dawes coming one way in, right the other. Didak, the spillage fires from the pack. Misses right.
And they're getting, Didak sat down, 3 Geelong blokes against 2, and the spillage has to come down to the bloke who's sitting. And that's when you're under pressure, get excited, don't make the right decision. Good night.
Short kick in finds Ablett. So Ablett now up to 18 possessions. Back to Milburn he goes. Across the ground to Taylor, who takes this mark. Out in space, no pressure. Now the pressure comes on the kick. Up towards centre wing. Lee Brown. Far too tall for Bartel. Brown. What a couple of finals he's had. Kick on the bounce up towards half forward. It spills out. Bartel makes a contest of it. They wrestle for supremacy, and umpire Sean Ryan comes in to ball it up.
It's all in the way that the pressure that's being applied. There's no flow, there's no play on, there's no energy in the Geelong team at all. No consistency of flow.
I think nearly 95,000 are shocked.
From the bounce, very little. Umpire again.
Look, and Geelong did have momentum. They got some shots off a goal, hit the post. They looked like they could really get going. They do it against most clubs, but Collingwood aren't allowing them to get any momentum, as David alluded to. And it was Drew who said before the game they can burst kick goals better than anyone, Geelong.
What a fearsome chant it is. Players stuck out at Collingwood's half-forward line.
Well, it's taken them, the Collingwood people, to wake up at the 11-minute mark of the second quarter. We were a bit quicker than them.
All of a sudden, Collingwood are not dropping a player out. I wonder if they've just changed it up a bit, because Geelong were trying to counteract that by surrounding that free player. I'm sure we'll see it brought into place again soon.
Lee Brown tried to force the clearance by barging through, was dispossessed. Selwood coming the other way, shoveled it forward. He was taken high.
I think they're so confident, Chris, they're going to win the one-on-ones.
So Selwood at left half-back with the resulting free kick. He's loaded up the barrel. He's kicked at the half forward. It bounces. Podsiadly trying to get onto it. Nathan Brown keeps him away from it. Brown took possession. Podsiadly tackled him. And this time 55 out from the Geelong goal. It will be bounced.
That says it all. Sorry, in that kick from Selwood says it all, where they are. Gave up, just tried to long bomb it with a torpedo that fell in no man's land. Dreadful.
The applause for Didak as he goes to the bench. From the stoppage, Blair gets the ball out to Ben Johnson. He's bowled over. Pendlebury, great hands. Hand pass to Lee Brown. They're out in the open now. Swan beats Chapman. Kick by Swan over the centre wing. Punch to the front. Swan follows up. Regathers the pill. And short passes for Cloak, who's moving gloriously. And he takes the mark. Kick and a half to goal. Not a great kick, but inside the 50, and Beams marks 45 metres from goal.
Well, Harry Taylor decided he was going to help his mate in a sort of a contest to make a 2-on-1. Didn't win it, certainly didn't win it, and Cloak's sitting off back 40 metres to have a freebie. Not happening at all for Geelong at the moment.
I don't know how Beams just sauntered into that forward 50. He was on for a good 5 or 10 seconds.
He spread forward, and Scarlett was loose and got absorbed over, but it was such a good kick to Cloak he couldn't get involved in that, and Beams was an overlap loose player inside 50.
Dane Beams at the punt road end, 48 metres out. He's kicked it and punches the air. They've kicked 10 already. It's 10-3 to 2-2.
Well, it's exciting stuff. We're punishing Geelong a bit for what's not happening, but let's give credit to Collingwood, who've been on the front foot from the first centre bounce every inch of the way. Geelong have had very few free access to the ball, very little time at any stage, hand or foot, to get time and space to use it. So you've got to say, great coaching, great game plan, as we predicted before the game, and it's delivered against the reigning champion, the best team in the competition over the last 3 or 4 years. So it's well done to Collingwood. We must acknowledge the way they've gone about it.
Kelly Underwood.
Body language isn't great down here in the Cats bunker. Jared, I'll get back to you very shortly, but Corey Enright might be an injury concern.
Hawkins' hand pass picked off by Wellingham. His kick didn't find a teammate though, and Corey takes the mark at half back. He spreads for Ablett. Wellingham flies against him. Ablett at ground level though controls the ball to Steve Johnson. Up to Chapman and back to Johnson, trying to find the way through. Hand pass to Stokes, or they're leaking ground again. Back to Chapman, they're in full retreat. Now to Corey, dragged off his kick, bounces to the wing. Steve Johnson missed his target, gets a second go but couldn't find Ablett. Pendlebury has it, Collingwood win out. Swan kicks for Didak, didn't quite mark. Taylor the spoil. Oh, Thomas goes in and hit Taylor high.
Yeah, that's a free kick, accidental.
40 out from the defensive goal.
Oh, gee.
Flush on the score.
With a grand final next week, he hopes that the videotape was lost, I reckon.
No, I don't think he meant that.
No, we've got another interchange infringement.
Oh, no.
The orange flag is out for the second time. This time, I reckon this is against Geelong.
And 50.
And that makes it a certain Collingwood goal.
Oh, so Dale Thomas has the free kick and will walk to the goal line.
Well, if they were hesitant about changing the rule, this is an ugly-looking part of the game. Orange flags like the bloke with the railway, the railway.
It is, and it's going to rear its head more in finals for two reasons. Firstly,
Thomas the goal.
Sorry, mate.
Collingwood 11-3. Geelong in disarray. 2-2.
You've got two issues on the interchange. The first one is that the umpires down there, or the interchange stewards, are going to be more vigilant in the way they assess the interchange, because I know there's any greyness, they give you the they let you off a little bit during the season, and which is common sense, to be honest. And secondly, the urgency for players to wanting to get on into the finals action. They can just overstep the mark by a centimetre.
It's a huge penalty, though, isn't it?
Well, that was
massive.
Does the penalty fit the crime? That's what I want to know.
Ridiculous.
So we've had 2 in 1 quarter and 1 half for preliminary final. Do we have 2 or 3 for the year?
Was he 4 inches over Kelly or 3?
I think it might have been 2, Parker. Listen, I think Steve Johnson might have been involved. You mentioned he missed 2 handball targets. He ran straight from the ground, and Ablett was absolutely seething, gave him a mouthful.
Ling barges his way out of the middle, kicks to full forward. Ottens has gone up there. He can't complete the mark. Burns trying to break through. 2-man tackle, held to a standstill, 50 from goal.
Well, I would be angry with Johnson too, because I think at times he just gives these flippant little handballs. Twice Ablett was under the pump demanding the ball, and twice he didn't give him any chance to get the foot in. He's been outstanding, Ablett.
And we're still waiting for Ottens to get his first possession.
Here's a ball up on the 50. Geelong in attack. It comes to Wellingham. He misses with his kick. It goes to Ablett. Sweeps the hand pass wide. Taken by Burns. Off to Varco. He runs out of room. He was running hard towards the boundary line. Tried to hook it back towards the goal square, but took the ball out. Jared, did you see enough of the replay? Is Daisy Thomas in trouble for the grand final?
No, I reckon he made shoulder contact rather than top of the head contact.
I don't think he meant it. I think he just sort of stumbled into it.
But does that come into it, whether you meant it or not?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's accidental, yeah.
2 players going in low down. He was still going for the ball, I reckon, Thomas.
From the stoppage. Again, Collingwood. It comes to Ben Johnson. Kicks up towards Brown, who's bowled over. Comes to Hunt for the Cats, centre wing. Shares the ball with Wojcinski. Kick by Josh Hunt to a 2-on-1 competition, and the 2 are Collingwood. Goes to Harry O'Brien. He just toys with him. Gets the hand pass into Shaw. Didn't quite hit the target, so Shaw dispossessed. Goes to Stokes. Off to Selwood, but he's lost it. Collingwood have it again. Beats the hand pass to Maxwell. Shrugs a tackle. Finds Thomas near the circles. Thomas puts the ball out into space. Oh, well done. And here comes Sidebottom. He butts the ball forward to his own advantage. Runs them ragged. Goes for goal. And misses to the left-hand side. That would have been something. Behind the young Steele Sidebottom. He's kicked 1 goal, 1 tonight. Collingwood 11-4-70. Geelong 2-2-14.
It's amazing. Bartel marked the kick in, kicks for Scarlett, runs to half-back, delivers long, Mooney and Reid. Reid gathers the bouncing ball, hand pass to Tooby, stripped of it by Varco. It's out of bounds.
Now, Steele Sidebottom's brother is the captain of Shepparton United in the grand final Sunday week, and there could be two Sidebottoms, Saturday and Sunday, in the grand final.
Side by side bottom.
At the throw in, very little out on the wing. Ablett somehow extricates the kick up to half forward, bouncing ball. Podsy Adley hand passes it to Mooney, flicks it off to Stokes, runs at the goal and delivers. Burns right on the line, is able to take the mark. He was against the goalpost, though, fancy when he did.
And I thought he marked it.
Burns in the field of play.
iPod's had his first possession and got injured in doing so.
So Burns only a step out from goal, but he is against the behind post. Just being put back where he should be. Burns steps in, swings it round, kicks the goal. Cats with their third. It's an 8.5 century, the margin Collingwood's way. 11-4-70 to Geelong, 3-2-20, about to hit time on of the second two.
And you keep looking down, occasionally a Geelong player comes off, but there are 3 or 4 lined up all the time at Collingwood. And it is, I think, this is my comment, I think it's a massive advantage. If you've got it well organised, you don't give frees as we've seen tonight. If you've got it well organised to keep the power running up by continually rotating, it's got to be an advantage.
Oh, that's why Swan's had, he's outstanding. He doesn't go for very long at all, but when he's on, he's just powering around.
Interchanges are up to 54 to 47. Yeah. Collingwood 54 interchanges at the 20-minute mark of the second quarter. Bounce. Neither ruckman, so it was interference in there, and the free kick to Ottens.
He gets his first via a free kick.
And he probably won't kick it. No, eventually he will. He just hoists it high, and there's about 8 blokes there where the ball's going to land. It comes to the back. Chance for Steve Johnson. He runs onto it. It runs out of room, and the ball goes out of bounds alongside the behind post, and we'll have a throw-in right in front of the Collingwood Social Club there at the MCG. Boy, this town is going to be at a fever pitch of excitement, and the whole nation really, with Collingwood appeared set for a grand final spot next week. The throw-in, fumble by Ottens. It comes to Stevie J. He loses control of it. Eventually it comes out to Johnson. Gets the hand pass to Thomas. Little kick outside the 50, gathered by Ablett. Hand pass to Varco to Kelly, whose kick is smothered by Thomas. Well done, Dale Thomas. He was a superstar, a flashy starter in his career, but he's probably had his best season. He had 32 possessions against the Dogs in the last game, one of his best games of the year, still going.
At the throw-in, Thomas has it again. They all have him, though, this time. He released the ball. Ben Johnson couldn't break through.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe the Bulldogs' form isn't that bad. If you consider against Collingwood.
It's 50 points the difference. Ottens knocks it wide of the pack. Pack follows the ball. Ball gets it. Steve Johnson emerges, though, to Ablett, to Steve Johnson. He gets his kick away and squeezes it into the post.
Where would they be without Ablett? I mean, how many chested footies around the ground has he won for them? And 10.
He's arguably the best player on the ground.
He's outstanding.
See, there's some of their big guns that haven't been so good. Kelly's been well below his best.
Selwood's
been rubbish best. Link's been well below his best. Bartel's been reasonable, I reckon.
Chapman.
Nathan Brown brings the ball out to Collingwood with a glorious kick put out in front of Thomas, who runs onto it and kicks towards half forward. McCaffrey in a one-on-one with Taylor. Taylor gathers, gets the hand pass away to Wojcinski. Caught by McCaffrey from behind. You don't get Wojo from behind too often. He's still in the contest. It comes to Ottens. Hand passes back to Taylor. Back to Ablett. Another possession. Across he goes to Scarlett. Now to the open side. That's a good kick by Scarlett. Joel Corey, well, he had to do a U-turn. Couldn't go forward. Couldn't find anybody to give it to. Now finds Enright. And Enright steers a pass about 40 metres. Mark taken by Burns. 70 from goal. He kicks towards full forward. Podsy Adley, nearly the mark. It comes to the front. Kelly's hand pass to Stevie J. Johnson running away from goal. Grabbed by one arm by Pendlebury. Gets the kick in. And it is smothered right on the line. A desperate dive by Reid. and the Cats just can't get anything out of this. They are 3-4. Collingwood 11-4.
O'Brien into the back pocket for ball. Signalled further down the line. Not a lot on offer for him. Maxwell's going to try to shepherd the mark. He runs around Hawkins. Ball kicks across the face of goal instead, so they actually nutted that out quite well. Reid marked in the opposite back pocket. He's got Didak on in the middle of the ground. He marks and plays on. Cloak's his target. Lonergan with him. Cloak to the back. Does the U-turn. Kicks around the corner. It's going to fall in short. And Scarlett camped back to take the mark. He had a couple of better options than that, Cloak. He had two players, the long and the short of it, Dawes and Blair, screaming for it.
Oh, the kick out of defence, not good by the Cats. And Melbourne too slow. This side is looking slow. Run down is Ottens. Collingwood emerge with the ball. McCaffrey the hand pass to Swan, who snaps for goal and kicks another one. 12-4 to 3 goals for, and Collingwood surely going to the grand final.
I'd like to comment on a couple of things. Firstly, I've liked how Geelong coaches have repositioned Varco and Johnson and Chapman and these guys in the midfield, because they do run forward with more purpose than the regular midfielders, which absorbs that free player behind the ball. But on the negative front, it just seems with the width of the MCG that the zoning defence of Geelong can get opened up a bit. They don't seem as comfortable here zoning as at Cardinia Park or at the Etihad Stadium. And you know, we saw Carlton open them up earlier in the year. We've certainly seen Collingwood now do it twice, and they just seem more vulnerable. And the ball carrier knows it. You'll have a good option.
And they're slow down back, aren't they? You've got Corey and Milburn and Taylor. They're just lack leg speed.
Collingwood by 54. Pendlebury at the clearance. Down to Jolly. Brought down by Selwood to keep it in the close confines. Pulled out of there by Wellingham. Boots them into the 50. Over the top of Scarlett and Dawes. Taylor trying to protect it out to the boundary. Cloak right in him close. Taylor does well on this occasion. Gets it to the left boot. His kick is poor though. Ben Johnson couldn't quite mark. He keeps it there though, and he sockers it off the ground for Cloak. Feeds the hand pass to O'Brien. Runs the contour of the boundary and then had his kick smothered. Taylor, the Varco for the Cats off half back to Virginski. Handballs it sideways to Steve Johnson and gets it back. Virginski hoisted high up to half forward. Podsy Atley flies against two. Shaw the spoil and the mop up and the kick out to Didak on the wing. Kelly brought him down. Well, he took the mark. In fact, the umpire said Didak just a little slow to rise, but he will have the ball when he does.
He's had a superb season, Alan Didak, averaging 25 possessions a game. Goes for the pass for Pendlebury in a contest with Kelly. Kelly goes down hurt. Shaw follows up. Spills to Varco, under pressure, gets a little kick to Ling. Hand pass to Bartel, off to Johnson. He's too slow as well. Run down by Tuvey. Collingwood tackling like men possessed. This is premiership football being played in a preliminary final.
What Collingwood do particularly well is they have a tackler, but the other two around the contest cut off the next options really smartly.
The bounce is won by Pendlebury, who's had a superb night. Comes to Beams. Tackled by Kelly. Ball spills. Thomas bursts through the pack. Somehow gets boot to ball. Comes to Tuvey. Does well. Goldsack the hand pass. Misses the target. Goes to Bartel. He kicks to half forward. O'Brien drops a mark but recovers. Darts defensively and then kicks to space. Brilliant play by Harry O'Brien to mark the side bottom in between half back and wing.
Side bottom goes up the wing. He's looking for Beams. The ball bounces out in front of him. Pulls it in. Beams delivers up for Cloak. Taylor hugs him close, puts it out of play.
Just the leg speed then. Beams just took off and Chapman just couldn't go with him.
Just let him go, but there was no
couldn't go with him, David.
Couldn't go with him, but he just given up. It looked so bad, you know.
Peter Shaw, David Park and Chris Connolly on grandstand AFL. Bartel third man up at half back for the Cats, but Ben Johnson has it for the Pies. Hand pass to Pendlebury onto the left boot. He's kicked it to Cloak and Dawes. No mark from the tools. McCaffrey the crumbing outside of the boot. No, it wouldn't take the Lee Brown bounce. It skidded across the face of goal. It's Collingwood by 55. Kelly Underwood.
Corey Enright off again. He's certainly sore. I'm not too sure what the problem is.
Well, he looks as though he'll have 6 months to get over it.
Casper get out of defence, not a good kick. It comes to ball just outside the 50. Steers the pass, and Dawes marks 45 metres from goal. Pushed over by Hunt. Crowd want 50, but Dawes won't get it.
The usage going into 50, I mean, that was a very cool kick. He pulled it back under, attempted to go long to a contest, had him on the front foot, Dawes coming. It was just a beautifully placed kick. Really smart. Haven't seen much of that happen in the Geelong 50 at all tonight. I can't remember, in fact, the free player coming at the ball who just was able to have a lovely one put into his pathway. I don't think it's happened.
They've spread the goal kickers around, and Dawes looking to join them. Springy run up, kicks from 48, launches it, and goals. Well, the inaccuracy has been put to bed, and they are dead-eye tonight. 13-5, 83 to 3-4, 22.
11 individual goal kickers, is that right? What a fantastic spread.
Well, Pete, we're only, before, a couple of minutes before half-time.
Unbelievable
That
spread.
is unbelievable spread, isn't it? And 18 shots to 7 at this stage. It's they're virtually 3 times better than their opponents.
It's going to be difficult, very, very difficult for Geelong to come back from here. There's no doubt at all.
And they've tried things, Chris, haven't you? You've made the point they've actually tried different setups, different structure, different people playing different roles. They've tried.
And look, funny enough, Collingwood have just converted better this quarter. They haven't had as many opportunities, but they've taken their chances.
Collingwood by 61 points. Ling fashions a kick out of the middle, but only as far as Dale Thomas. Gives the hand pass to Goldsack. Chips it up beyond halfway. Ball will mark and play on. Shoots out the hand pass to Pendlebury. He kicks it inside the 50. Beams is his man. Spoiled from Lonergan. Blair onto it. Gets under Scarlett. Swings it at goal. It's away to the right and to behind. Collingwood by 62.
But the first player to get back was Sidebottom. He would, if that kick just didn't have another metre on it, there was another goal.
Well, the unsureness of Lonergan then, I mean, he normally should have marked that. He had it under control and to come at the ball, but he chose to punch it.
Short kick in by Kelly, finds Scarlett in the back pocket.
This is where they struggle too. They can't run it out of their back line.
No. And the kick just to the 50, and Selwood takes the mark. Very up and down final series for Joel Selwood. Might have been a push in the back there by Mooney, but he gets away with it. Delivers the hand pass away to Hunt. Off to Stokes just behind the circles to Kelly. Back to Hunt. Out wider. Ablett and Hawkins taken by Ablett. Ablett kicks for Steve Johnson. Drops a mark. Roved in front by Ling. Beats a weak tackle of Tuvey. And Ling misses the goal from in front and 35 metres out. Get back him every time to kick that one. His first score for the night, Cameron Ling. A short time ago, television showed a cutaway of some Collingwood blokes in the grandstand. How would you be being Prestigiacomo? The club's going to win a flag, you'd reckon. He's got no hope of playing in the granny. Couldn't change this side next week, could you?
Well, they did today.
Shaw into Reed, clears the defensive zone for ball.
And you don't want injuries. There's a half to go, so you never know though, Drew, do you? Someone can always get hurt at training or something happens.
I think we were surprised Davis was out, so that'll be a big selection dilemma if he's certainly available next week.
Guided the kick up the wing, some holding on going on, Lee Brown's ball.
You'd be wondering what the mindset of the two that are sitting in the grandstand waiting for tomorrow night. Might be a good one to lose tomorrow.
Ration this talk out because we've got another half to go. This is well decided. Tuvey kicks up to half full. Swung with a one-hander.
You know, it throws up, it exposes Geelong for a lot of things in this game. A lot of players' futures.
Swan puts it in deep. Wellingham makes a run at it. A few flew off hands. It went out of play.
Because of how slow they've looked and how far off the pace they've looked against Collingwood tonight.
Does it make Ablett's decision easier?
His decision is surely made. It's 35 out from the Collingwood goal at the throw-in. Jolly guides it to the back for ball. Couldn't take it with him. Wellingham pulled it clear. Kicks it at goal. It's a behind. 62 points Collingwood's way.
See, there are a lot of Geelong blokes hoping the ball doesn't come into their area. I'm telling you, they're just hanging on for grim death and hoping somebody else will be responsible. I've not seen this for a long time from this club. They are totally and utterly demoralised.
Hunt marks the short kick in, and he'll go back to Scarlett in the goal square. They can do this all night. He won't get out of defensive 50. Further across the ground to Taylor. Siren. They were just staggering to half-time. What the first hour of football by the Pies. 13-7. 85 to Geelong. 3-5-23. An amazing first half by Collingwood. Last week they kicked, last game 17-22 they kicked. When they played Geelong earlier on, 14-23, and now tonight at halftime, 13-7. The goal kickers, Pendlebury in his 100th has kicked 2, Cloak has kicked 2, and the rest are all in singles as they've spread it around. What a performance. Didak 1, Thomas 1, Lee Brown, Beams, Wellingham, Sidebottom, Johnson, Dawes and Swan. And for Geelong, their sorry tale. 3 goals to the long break. 1 each to Barco, Burns and Mooney. It's 85-23. 62 points is the margin at the long change.
On grandstand AFL. We get a thought or two from David Park and then the news and a full summary after that.
Well, Kieran, the experts prior to the game, and I looked across all the papers and read everything, and they were certainly well in Collingwood's camp. There was no doubt about that. The people who were supposed to know had all the reasons, and I thought we were reasonably in line with that thinking before the game. But to have got to half-time in this match, not any of those would have thought that the margin would be 10 goals at half-time with, what did we say, 11 or 12 different scorers, and they have delivered. We talk about expectation and Collingwood getting the wobbles, and around this time they don't deliver, but my word, they have delivered magnificently tonight, individually and as we knew they would do collectively. The point about their back six is just about, as Kevin was pointing out, their back six has just about stayed intact despite the rotations being at the rate they are. They've kept that six together, and they have been a great team within the team to set up most of the scoring thrust. It's been the most dominant performance I can think of, with 2 sides that came in, and we thought we might even go to the wire. We might even have extra time to win this game. Well, the game has been well and truly decided in the first half. Well done, Collingwood Football Club.
Collingwood by 62 points over Geelong. More from the MCG with Peter Schwab and Chris Connolly shortly. But right now, the latest from the ABC Newsroom with Jim Graham.
Thank you, Gerard. The West Australian Premier, Colin Barnett, has accused the federal government of being secretive on the issue of asylum seekers. The details from Jane Norman.
The federal government today announced the Curtin Detention Centre in WA's Kimberley would be expanded to house an additional 600 asylum seekers. Mr Barnett says he was only told about the plan 15 minutes before it was announced.
I would just like some honesty and openness on this issue. I mean, I don't know why the federal government's in denial.
Derby West Kimberley Shire President Elsa Archer is also upset about the lack of communication and consultation.
Nobody's told us that it was going to happen. I mean, we've just been assuming, yes, it may happen.
Mr Barnett says the government needs to develop a clear management plan for the ongoing issue.
The government will also house up to 300 asylum seekers at an Air Force base at Weipa in far north Queensland. While in Melbourne, mostly families and unaccompanied children will be placed at the Immigration Transit Accommodation Centre. It currently holds about 40 people and will be expanded to cope with another 100. Sue Bolton of the Refugee Action Collective says children should not be placed there.
These young people are profoundly depressed and distraught, and they don't have much access to community members. Most of the Afghan community lives in the Dandenong area, not the Broadmeadows area. So they're lonely, they're without support, certainly without close support.
The federal opposition leader, Tony Abbott, says Parliament would be vastly more complicated if an independent MP became Speaker. Mark Tobin reports from Parliament House.
The independent MP Rob Oakeshott wants to be Speaker, but Mr Abbott's indicated he'd prefer Labor's Harry Jenkins to remain in the job.
The pairing arrangement will be much easier to manage if a member of a major party is the parliamentary Speaker.
Mr Oakeshott says a deal on parliamentary reform would allow him to be Speaker and still vote on crucial issues. And he's concerned, the opposition leader is trying to renege on that agreement. The former Senate clerk Harry Evans says the overall reform package is problematic.
The proposed pairing arrangement would be a sort of subterfuge of the Constitution, a circumvention of the Constitution.
The opposition says it intends to honour the parliamentary reform deal. Mark Tobin, ABC News, Canberra.
The employers of a teenage insulation worker who was electrocuted in central Queensland have been fined more than $100,000. Megan Lewis reports.
16-year-old Reuben Barnes died while installing insulation at a house near Rockhampton in November last year. His employer, Arrow Property Maintenance, pleaded guilty in Rockhampton Magistrates Court to breaching electrical and workplace health and safety laws. The owners, brothers Richard and Christopher Jackson, were fined a total of $135,000. Magistrate John McGrath told the court the sentence should serve as a warning to employers who neglect their duty to provide a safe workplace for their employees. He said the sentence would do little to alleviate the grief felt by the teenager's family. Megan Lewis, ABC News, Rockhampton Magistrates Court.
At least 60 people have been killed in an accidental explosion at a police station in eastern Sri Lanka. Officials say most of the victims were policemen who were issuing explosives to Chinese road builders for use on a nearby project. They say the explosives were kept at the station for safety reasons. Northern Territory Police have decided to stop trying to find out if notes published in a newspaper really were those of a juror in the Lindy Chamberlain case. More from Katrina Bolton.
The nation was spellbound 30 years ago as Lindy Chamberlain argued it was really a dingo that took her baby Azaria near Uluru. Ms Chamberlain was convicted and then cleared of murder. Last month, on the anniversary of Azaria's disappearance, News Limited papers published what they claimed were juror notes from the trial found in Territory Police archives. Police launched an investigation saying the paper may have broken the law because juror material must stay confidential. But police say the results of the investigation are inconclusive and they're not going to investigate any more because jurors could have their anonymity compromised.
ANZ Bank has begun a resolution scheme with its customers caught up in the Storm financial collapse 2 years ago. About 100 ANZ customers borrowed money to invest with the Queensland-based firm, which went under at the height of the global financial crisis. The resolution scheme is similar to one reached with Commonwealth Bank customers. Lawyer Damien Scattini says it's a fair outcome.
Everyone will have their case looked at individually. Everyone will have a lawyer considering their claim and advocating for them. And we're hopeful that we will achieve, sound, fair outcomes for our clients in a much sooner time than would be the case if we went through the traditional route.
And a new reality television show in the United States will mix wedding preparations with extreme plastic surgery. The new show, which premieres in November on the cable network E, will be called Bridal Plasty. In the show, 12 engaged women live in a mansion together and compete in wedding-themed challenges to win plastic surgery procedures from each bride's wish list. The show's finale will feature the winning bride revealing her new surgically enhanced body to her groom at the altar. And that's ABC News.
You can get the ABC in more ways.
News.
With the new ABC iPad app.
Entertainment.
We've already got your phone covered.
3G or Wi-Fi.
No matter which mobile you're on or where you are.
Radio.
There are apps or the ABC mobile site.
Video.
And now there's the new free ABC iPad app.
TV and podcast.
So browse it, swipe it, listen and watch. Get your ABC on the move.
Grandstand AFL.
Ottens wins the tap at the start of the term. Down to Ablett, who adds another possession, but it's a false hand pass. Corey has to go and get it at centre half back. He's gone backwards and he's lost it. Didak kicks it to Cloak, feeds it to side bottom, and they open as they finish the first. Didak in the left forward pocket, cuts in, cuts round, kicks the goal. It's going to land right in the square. Close. Travis Cloak, he has one, he couldn't miss his second, and he does.
Not a great kick, but inside the 50 and Beams marks 45 metres from goal. He's kicked it and punches the air.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio.
Against all expectation, it is a game 1 at half-time. Collingwood 13 goals, 7, 85 over Geelong 3-5, 23, and 90+ thousand. Well, the vast majority of them will be purely thrilled that it is as it is, because the Black and White Army have very much invaded tonight. For the neutral supporter, it hasn't been the spectacle that was demanded.
I know Collingwood people want to hear us talk about how great they are, but can I just mention Gary Ablett? I think he's been superb, and it's not only stats, but in some ways it is. 25 disposals to half-time, but he's had 10 contested footballs, 4 inside 50s, 2 goal assists or scoring assists, 4 clearances. He's worked his heart out. He is seriously... He's just a super player, and I just want to make special mention of him. But overall, that Collingwood team, the way they've played this first half, is as good as football you'd ever hope to see. I know we talked a little bit about tactics, but their leg speed and their willingness to run and break from situations that are in tight and then get out into space, they've just got a work rate that's it's going to take them all, obviously, to the grand final, and on this form are hard to beat. But the 11 goal kickers, I think that's a significant spread of goal kickers. They haven't relied on any one forward. That means they've been prepared to share the ball around. They've kicked goals a lot easier tonight, probably because of the lack of pressure, but also because they've been able to turn the ball over in critical positions and spin it in there. Probably the players who have been down a little bit for them. Jolly hasn't had much of an influence, I wouldn't have thought, David. Either's Otten, so that's almost a break-even, insignificant contest at the moment. Brown hasn't had a lot of it down back. Goldsack has played that role where Chris spoke about it often, that he just drops back and creates that extra player, but he hasn't had a lot of the footy. But up the other end, Swan's had a great game. Didak's been dangerous. Pendlebury, the three guns, all their on-ballers really. Thomas has been, he's been okay. Cloak's been dangerous, kicked 2 goals, he's given a couple away. I think Beams and Sidebottom, not that they've had a lot, but they're dangerous, quick players. Just everywhere you look with Collingwood at the moment, it's a team that's just chock full of confidence and run and good use of the ball. They're kicking the ball a lot more than Geelong. Geelong have had 114 handballs, but really nothing productive has come from it.
In fact, the opposite, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They've given it up in the multiple handball that the last one ends up back in Collingwood's hands.
Look, the contested possessions are even, the tackles are even, the clearances are even. They clawed their way back inside 50s, and Geelong, they actually got one more than Collingwood, but nothing came of it. It's 20 scoring shots to 8. What do you do if you're not Mick Moldhouse, because he'll just want it to keep rolling, but what do you do if you're Mark Thompson? Do you make radical changes or just ask the players who've done it before to find some pride and lift?
I would have thought, Pete, he would be saying we must leave tonight. We've got a second half to get back the respect that they've earned, and we shouldn't forget that. They have been as good a side that I can remember over the generations of footy. They certainly look slower, and where Collingwood have been smart, because Lockie has been a great player, Medhurst's been a great player, O'Bree's been a great player, but they don't even get a mention anymore. They've been placed by 3 dynamic, as you suggested, young quick players, and this team is full of that. Geelong tonight looks slow, slow in acceleration, slow even in decision making, getting the right spot, and certainly other than Wojcinski, probably Barco on a couple of occasions, they've looked slow over the ground, and that to me is if you'd asked me before the game, I would have thought the speed differential was with Collingwood, but to the depth that it is, it's quite unbelievable.
Yeah, it's one of those games that we're just amazed sitting here, because we've seen a great side as Geelong, never ever seen them beaten as convincingly as they are tonight, and I think we're all a little bit stunned at that.
Just having a look at Kevin's stuff too, the comment that I made about the back six, I watched closely a couple of games where North Melbourne, a side that's on the way, I think, have refused to take the back six off. They've just worked consistently. Opposition have tried to run them to the point where they're going to exploit that, but haven't been able to. And it's interesting tonight that Tuvey, Reid, Maxwell and Brown. That's 4 that I know in the back 6. Look, they haven't been off the ground as yet, and that's a very, very, tightly knit, working together back 6 who work hard. They run, they carry, they support each other. So I just love that idea in the team within the team that gets under the most pressure is them, and to have them working that way, I think that's a credit to them.
Just a couple of other scores before you go on. We're in the semi-final stage of the NRL, and the Tigers 24 lead the Raiders 16. So Canberra have been red hot in the past 10 weeks or so, but the Tigers have a handy lead over them at the 57th minute. And in the A-League tonight, in the 50th minute, it's Newcastle 1, Perth Glory 0. Drew, give us those stats and then more from Schwabby Parker and Chris Connolly.
Well, the possessions still favour the Cats, 195 to 178, but the differential is in the hand passes, 114 to 57, so exactly double the amount of handballs Geelong over Collingwood. And as you say, a lot of those handballs have been getting them into trouble. And maybe Gary Ablett is the main bloke, because he's had 15 hand passes himself, and some of them have gone backwards and to the opposition. So he's had 25 possessions to half-time, Gary Ablett. But for the leaders, Swans had 20, 15 and 5. Didac 15, Pendlebury 15, Ball 12, Ben Johnson 11. For the Cats, Ablett 25, Chapman and Corey and Scarlett all 14, and Taylor with 12. The inside 50s are 35 to 18, greatest hiding of all time. So they win the kicks, Collingwood, 121 to 81, but they lose the hand passes, 114 to 57. The marks are 46 to 30 in favour of the Pies. Contested possessions are pretty even, 73 to 71.
Yeah. Can I just go back that one step though, Drew? It's funny, isn't it? What was over the last 3 years Geelong's absolute strength? You couldn't get them because they could flick the ball faster with their hands than the other team I've ever seen in the history game by a mile. I thought they sort of overdid it and were almost disrespectful of some of their opposition, but that's been their strength because they finally got people clear with time and space to do the end thing extremely well. Well, Collingwood have looked at this, Bob, and said, well, we're going to play in a way that will bring their strength down to a weakness, and that's exactly what's been shown tonight. What they already had, delivered to them in the last time they played, exactly the same thing. Geelong, with that knowledge, were not able to change their habitual method of playing to deal with it. They've not been able to do that. Now, this will be the time in Geelong's history that they've got to start to think about how do we bring another method of play to this that will cope.
Well, it's a great coaching debate, isn't it? Do you stick with the method and recruit players to play your method, or do you have different ways of playing continually as your team evolves? Just in one stat before Chris talks, 20 shots Collingwood have had. They're actually getting a scoring shot for every 9 possessions. Is that right? Yeah, 100. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Look, a couple of points from my end. Firstly, in terms of the contested possession, the game has been played in the back half for Geelong, and you usually have more numbers around the ball, and that's where they've evened up the possession. So statistics can be a little bit deceiving in the sense that where are the contested possessions being won, and also in terms of a kick-handball ratio, it's really about who creates goals or who creates goals for the opposition. And they end up your most important players. I think Gary Ablett has been quite efficient in his use of the ball, but the next chain of ball control has not been effective for Geelong in any way, shape or form. And that's as much about the structure, the use of the ball, and really the whole gamut. I mean, this is a great shock tonight. I mean, we are all in shock. Everyone here at the ground disappointed because we were looking to see one of the greatest games of all time. Absolute shock, absolute credit to Collingwood. I think one thing that has come out of this game in terms of the game itself is that the interchange rule is far too costly and could cost someone a grand final, and I think there wouldn't be anyone in the stadium that doesn't think that on what we've seen tonight.
No. It's like if you're going to apply a penalty, the penalty has to be fair.
Yeah, but it's not fair.
No, that's what we're saying. It's not fair. It's too big a penalty, so you have to rethink it.
Yeah. The involvement... Sorry, David?
No, I was just going to say, well, the fact that a player gets on by half a metre, the game's been played, half a mile away, half a kilometre away these days, you've shown my age, that there is no whatsoever relationship between the damage that's done to the game, the integrity of the game, and the end result. It's not right.
There should be a warning or something like that to give them, maybe a 3-strike thing down there for the penalty. And just the involvement of the game, what we've seen is the skill level. Firstly, West Coast, I thought, took it around clearances to a new level with all the gun midfielders they have. Geelong, one of the most skillful sides we've ever seen. We've got defensive mechanisms in place by Collingwood that have really unbalanced them. It's now up to the next team to go over the top with the skills again, but pressure in the game is winning at the moment. Mick coaches against the opposition. He's coached against Geelong tonight. He's got them off balance, and it's been a phenomenal effort by them.
Kevin O'Neill points out some of the possessions at the bottom end for the Cats. Podsy Adley, 1 possession. Handball. Ottens 2, Lonergan 2, Mooney 5.
It's Collingwood by 62 points on Grandstand AFL. You're with Drew Morphins.
On Grandstand around the country as we start the second half. Ottens wins this hit out, but it comes to Swan, who gets another possession. He kicks the Pies inside the 50. It goes on towards goal. Beams gets the bouncing ball, took an overhead mark just about to a bouncing ball. Works it out, but Pendlebury is grabbed in a good tackle, and the umpire is going to ball it up. And in this third quarter, Collingwood going down towards their social club end at the city end of the MCG. Ottens wins a hit out. It comes to Ablett. He's slippery. Virtually hands the ball to Kelly. Little hand pass away to Ling. Dangerous kick to Harry O'Brien. Here comes Brown. Lee Brown hands to it. And at ground level might win it. Might even get a free kick off O'Brien. Down goes Thomas, buffeted to ground. Little kick comes out the back door to the 50. Taken by Cloak. Hand pass back to Maxwell. Further hand pass back. Misses the target. Didak. He's too quick for him. Actually, he ran the ball over the boundary line. He was too quick for himself. And the boundary umpire says, give it to me, Dids. I'll throw it in. It's 85-23.
From the throw in, Charlie camped himself in front. Ottens worked him underneath. Hand pass was smothered. Ball stayed right under the pack and gets the benefit of a free kick, having been either taken high or pushed in the back, and probably both. Ball sets it up to the 50. He used it well, and Beams glides into mark.
Oh, you called that. How hard was that to get over one and short of his other one? It was just beautifully placed kick.
He's used the ball well.
He has.
Ball.
Never long, but into the perfect position.
Beams this season, 26 goals, 31. This is as difficult as you would want it to be. He'll kick from the juncture of 50 and the boundary. Out on the right. Beams sets it out to the right, works it back, but not enough. And it's a behind to open the scoring in the second half. It's Collingwood by 63.
And Cameron Ling is running with Dane Swan all the way. Joel Selwood's gone forward. So the Geelong coaches have tried to create, a new environment for the team, sell some confidence.
This is where they've struggled to come out of the kick-in situation.
Milburn had the shakes before kicking it in. Comes to a pack at the front of it. Didak gets a hand pass away, but it hits the turf, bounces over the line, and a throw in. Just outside the 50. 13-8 to 3 goals 5. 2.5 played, third quarter. Away goes the throw in. Jolly palms it down. Enright has it for the Cats. Bartel through Milburn to Ablett. Kelly blindsided, but stands in the tackle, gets it away, but his hand pass goes to Didak. 40 from goal. Across his body he shoots, and it's away to the left and through for a minor score.
Great pressure again, wasn't it? By the Pies, turned the ball over.
Didak, 1 goal, 3 for the night.
Look, it does make them look slow, doesn't it?
Yes.
Just in the ball movement. In the Geelong, we always conceded they didn't have great foot speed, but their ball movement was so quick it kind of made up for it, but not tonight.
Scarlett from the kick in couldn't find anything. Hand passed out looking for teammates, but it bounced out of play.
I would have thought the kick-ins tonight have just... And they were exposed against St Kilda in the first half with their kick-ins as well.
At the throw-in, Collingwood in attack and in control. But Bartel went up and just about knocked it down to the front. Varco to Ablett, to Ling, to Bartel on the follow-up. Steve Johnson and back to Bartel. Each was a hand pass. The kick was unconvincing to halfway. Varco put the shoulder into Ben Johnson. They both tumbled to the ground. The ball got away and went out of play.
Often we see teams get jammed up on their kick-ins. I think teams will just go back to a flood to one side, outnumber, keep it simple, and at least you don't get killed on the counter-attack.
Watkins wins the head out down to Varco. Little hand pass to Ablett. He's dispossessed. The pressure all around the ball carrier here for Collingwood.
Or that long one, fantastic. Chris, to the juncture of almost the 50, and at least it's deep, and if it's going to go anywhere, it'll go out of bounds for a stoppage.
And the next kick actually goes over the top of an 18-man zone, and you see all the players streaming onto the ball. Very hard to defend.
Here's the bounce. Didak, a little sleight of hand. Hand pass away to Shaw, who kicks long. One-on-one. Cloak can't take the mark. He's joined by a teammate now, but Scarlett gets a hand pass away for the Cats. He's put on his backside as he finds Enright. Good kick by Enright out of defence. Excellent. Mark taken by Bartel. He pinpoints Ablett inside the centre square. He's run down from behind. Was he playing on? He gets the hand pass away. Selwood, he's in all sorts of bother. Now, Bartel in bother as well. The kick, no distance, and they've lost it. Shaw gathers for Collingwood, back edge of the centre square, and all night it's been the pressure on the ball carrier applied by Collingwood, and they're flogging them in that department. Now Dawes marks on the wing.
He's got options inboard. He's going to use them. He kicks it to Ball, who puts it up to the 50 in the Didak direction. It's all on the bounce. It goes over the top of Bartel. Didak flicked it out the side. Pendlebury has it. Standing start. Wedges it for Swan. The best midfielder in the game can go back and have a set shot at goal. No,
50 against 50. Ling. He punched Lee Brown in the stomach.
So Swan has a certain goal now as it further unravels for Geelong.
Yep, that was Ling.
Swan comes in and makes it 70. 14-9-93 Collingwood. Geelong 3-5-23, 6 gone of the third term.
We might be looking at a 100-point defeat here.
Yeah, and I think that'll be on the back of, we saw a half-time interview completed by Bomber Thompson, who said he was just asking to win back some respect in the second half, and I would suggest at this stage there hasn't been any resemblance of all of that happening.
And funnily enough, over the last 3 or 4 years, Collingwood have dished out some real spankings to the Cats. Even in their premiership years, they've beaten them by over 100 once, and 86, I think, another time. So this could get up there. And listen to this chant for Collingwood. This is coming from the MCG, but it might be going on in households all over the country, as there's probably a million or two Collingwood supporters absolutely lapping this up. Ling takes a free kick in the middle of the ground for a high tackle. Nobody really stands the mark. On the run, he kicks inside the 50. Mooney, beaten to it, and well defended by Nathan Brown for Collingwood, but gathered by Mooney. Mooney receives a hand pass back from Burns. On the boundary line, 50 out to the top of the goal square. 2 Collingwood players fly for the mark, and the mark is taken down by Tooby. You can hear the crowd, Tooby.
Oh, they're going to have some fun in the second half here. Off to O'Brien, who obliges with a bounce and kicks around the wing. Swan was in front, but he couldn't mark. Enright spoils it out of play.
Well, we might comment after the game. Western Bulldogs might beat St Kilda, but St Kilda have only chance of actually beating this mob in the grand final.
It's at half forward for the Cats. At the throw-in, Hawkins and Jolly. Jolly won the tap, down to the front, Enright for Geelong, hand pass to Varco, put it out the side to Chapman, wider still to Bartel, high to the 50, Ablett's gone forward, 3 pies pitted against him. At the drop though, coming through is Selwood, and he lets fly from 51, and misses well out to the right. It's a behind, and it's a 69-point lead, Collingwood's way.
It's very difficult to tag Dane Swan. Ling went to Swan when he was in the midfield. As soon as that happened, they put Swan to half forward.
No, but a glorious kick from the back pocket, straight into the breadbasket of side bottom in midfield. Hand pass to Swan, who ducks a tackle, kicks long towards full forward, 1-on-1 again, and the mark has been taken by McCaffrey, who has absolutely flogged Josh Hunt. And I'm afraid, Josh, You have had a shocking final series.
He has, but I tell you, what made it hard for him was the fact that, I don't know who it was, but they just let Swan run around him in the middle of the ground. You put a long ball down into a one-on-one, the defender's always in trouble because he's trying to watch his man and the ball, and McCaffer, was it? He just slipped in front and took an easy mark.
Swan goes straight to the bench, and the Pies made 4 interchanges at that very split second. Now McCaffer in front and only 25 metres out from goal. Kicks it. So he's another goal scorer. As Collingwood go to 15-9, leading the Cats 3 goals 6. This is embarrassing.
He's fitted into that front half very well. He's actually better above his head than he would appear. He marks tall for a 6-foot oneer. He's been good on the way out. He's been a terrific chaser and tackler in their forward 50. And he's been able to methodically kick goals each week. He doesn't miss too many. In range, in the corridor, he puts them away. So he's been an excellent find for them this year.
So last year Geelong beat Collingwood by 73 in a prelim, and Collingwood already leads Geelong by 75. There's only ever been one triple-figure result in a preliminary final.
Essendon Collingwood.
1984.
I know, I remember it well.
99 plays 24, bounce back in the middle. Corey first possession to Ling. High to half forward, a little bit aimless. Maxwell the spoil and the gather. He throws it onto the boot. It'll land at half forward and the race is on. Cloak and Taylor, it gets past them and out of play.
Can I ask Peter and David, will Collingwood win by 100 points?
Well, if they keep going at this pressure and at this pace and the resistance from Geelong doesn't lift, yes, but there might be a stage where Collingwood might ease off.
If you're a betting man, David?
No, they won't. I reckon Geelong will find something when the game's over and Collingwood lose just a little bit of interest. Maybe they won't, but I think, no, it will be less than that. That would be my wager.
Lee Brown took it out of the ruck and kicked it out of bounds on the full. So Ling at the restart. Oh, Lee Brown just makes amends. He gets into the next pack and clunks the footy. He's playing his best game every time he comes out now. He's just upping it and upping it.
Like Sergei Bubka with the pole.
That's exactly a centimetre at a time. Lee Brown roosts it into the forward pocket. Cloak left. It went through his hands. He had a good purchase on it too. Out against the boundary. Side bottom. Hand pass to McCaffer. Dumped into the turf by Hunt. They fight over the ball in the forward pocket. Kelly's brought down by Beams. And that's where we'll need a stoppage.
Speaking of Kelly, what about Kelly?
I'm back here, yes. Thanks for that, guys. Drew, Luke Ball getting some work on the hamstrings at the moment. We can see the players are tiring, and certainly Collingwood physios working overtime as the players come on and off.
Ben Johnson gets a lucky hand pass at the back of the pack. He hoists it high to the goal square, and standing his ground to take the mark is Wellingham at the top of the goal square. And this will be another goal to the Pies. Sharrod Wellingham in his 50th game.
Terrific player for the Adelaide Bombers in Western Australia, Drew, back in his early days. Adelaide Bombers.
Pendlebury comes to the bench and gets the applause. Now at the city end of the ground, Wellingham with a gimme goal. He kicks it. This is party time now for the Pies as they top the 100. 16-9, 105 to Geelong, 3-6-24.
Peter, can I ask you a question now? Collingwood are going to play in the grand final, and you played in many a final series as you did, David. And was there any time where in a preliminary final you'd start to think, I've just got to get myself right for the next game?
No, I don't think you can, because you played footy. Once you start easing off, you put yourself actually in vulnerable positions. I think you just got to keep going. You might occasionally not, in the end, not run maybe that 50 or 60 metres to get on the end of something. But I don't think you can ease off when it's physical. but maybe the running side you can.
And David, as a coach, do you start to rest your better players a bit more?
I think that's different to what you suggest. You can't play the game any different, but you have less of it.
Collingwood by 81 points. Ablett chasing the ball in the midfield. He gathers, puts it onto the right boot. Geelong go forward. Steve Johnson comes to the ball, which dipped in front of him. It bounced. Steve Johnson ended up with it anyway. Turned out of the tackle. Hand passed out to nobody in particular in the forward pocket. And Wellingham has it covered. He needs Jolly across the face of goal, and Jolly stands firmly. Plants himself and marks and gives the hand pass out to Reid. Up the line he goes. Dawes or Thomas. Dawes given right of way. Bounces to the back. Thomas and in right goes to ground, and that puts you out. Thomas, hand passed over the shoulder to Dawes. Inside the 50. Bouncing ball. Dropped by side bottom. Beams piles in. They dispute the ball with Kelly and Harry Taylor. The ball comes to a standstill 30 out from the Pies.
Can't see much on the ground.
No, wasn't that typical where Enright chose to go to the ground then, didn't take the ball, 2-1, lose.
Yeah, it's a pace issue, I thought.
And there's a bit of ballet dancing by Thomas. Ball comes to Beams, over his shoulder to the goal square, but back in the same direction as the ball is Milburn to mark for the Cats. Hand pass away to Stokes. Now to Scarlett. Ugly looking kick, half volley, pick up by Bartel. Flicks it across to Ablett. Back to Bartel and to Ablett. He's caught. McCaffer lays a good tackle, but Ablett just gets it away. Harry Taylor's hand pass is knocked down. It's taken here by the Pies. Comes to Didak deep in the pocket. Hooks back towards the goal square. But standing in the way is Milburn to Mark. Hand pass to Hunt. You don't want it in his hands, so close to goal. Well, Hunt's hand pass back to Bartel. They're out of trouble. Milburn clears the 50 and the mark taken by Selwood. 105 plays 24. They've finally got it to the centre square where Burns has it. The kick is good to Johnson, who's getting the Bronx cheer. Kick by Stevie J towards full forward. Mooney, get a touch, my boy. But it's punched away by Reid. Comes to the front. Corey the hand pass. Stokes dodges and weaves and kicks for goal. And it's kicked it. He's been knocked over. He's been knocked flat, but he kicked the goal anyway.
Well, can I say it's the first time almost all night the ball went from just outside the defensive 50. 3 hit-up leads were all kicked accurately, and the...
stand by. There's a fight broken out here. Ablett and Didak are right into each other. It all centres around Goldsack, and Goldsack will have to survive a video review to play in the grand final next week for that hit on Stokes. But Ablett and Didak went ferociously at each other, and Ablett even threw a right hand that seemed to land on Didak's chin.
Really? Might miss the first game or two for Gold Coast.
He might. I'd be more worried about Goldsack.
No, I reckon he's right.
You reckon?
Yep.
Swinging left arm?
No problem.
No, Stokes hurt himself when his head hit the ground after the collision, not the actual blow on the head to start.
Reluctant to talk over that, to be perfectly honest. Collingwood by 75 points. They might storm the box if we do. Wellingham in the middle couldn't quite handle it. Ablett grabbed it, they all grabbed him.
So your call was that he laid one, Gary?
Certainly, I don't know whether it's a fist or an open hand, but he certainly sent a swinging arm into Didak. Corey got it from the stoppage, kicked blindly to the 50, and Maxwell has it. He's just calling for a bit of calm, the Pies skipper, to make sure that the spite doesn't come into the game, because it's Will White. He kicks for Goldsack. Stokes went with the flight, made the spoil. Corey against the boundary under serious pressure. Clever hand pass though to Stokes, and he'll release Varco running the wing. Flops it to the 50 over the top of Mooney. Podsy Adley beaten by at the bounce as well, and Nathan Brown tidies up for the Pies. Hand pass to O'Brien. Out to the defensive 50 for Wellingham. Wanted players to run at him. It was probably an ambitious ask.
Well, Pods has probably had a shocker, but gee, Nathan Brown's played the perfect game.
Wellingham up to the lead of Dawes, who really offered himself at halfback. They look up the line. Nothing satisfactory for him, so he hoofs it. He does have a good hoof on him, but it's cut off by Lonigan near halfback.
Sweeps it into Kelly. Hand pass to Varco inside the centre square. He's thinking of giving it off, but now he claps on the burners and goes for a run. The pass to Pods, and the aforementioned J-Pod takes the mark.
Well, haven't seen much of that, have we? Where someone's got space and ran through the middle of the ground and opened it up a little bit. I think you said it in the second quarter. We haven't had a Geelong player hit up and actually mark a leading ball.
That's almost the first time, and that was terrific. Barco was at full throttle. He drew the ball back under and he whacked it low and hard, and the best in the business couldn't have stopped that. Hodge must deliver here.
That's his first mark, and he's coming up for his first kick at the 18-minute mark of the third quarter. In front, 48 from goal. He's hooked it. And, you know, that's a behind. Listen to the Collingwood fans. Cats 4-6, 4-7, 31. The Pies 16-9, 105.
Look, that ball movement through the corridor, Collingwood do give you a look. They always go wide on their own attack, so you can counter-attack through the corridor, but it just hasn't happened tonight.
Heath Shaw played it to himself, and Thomas got rid of Kelly in the nick of time to take the mark. It was a beauty. Hand pass to Ben Johnson, stabs it up to side bottom, takes it and takes off, delivers lace out to Cloak. Can't move it better than that.
How good was that mark? You called it, Jared. He was behind and no chance, and he did it so quickly at the last minute I didn't think he'd get his hands out to mark it. Fantastic effort by Thomas. Gee, he's improved, I reckon. Better and better and better.
They stood chest to chest and sort of used the forearms on each other. And the stronger player.
Well, we had Posiadely miss. Come down here. Let's see what Cloak does.
2 goals, 1 for Travis Cloak. Long range shot from 52. He's dragged it across the face. And he does tend to be the 50-50 man, doesn't he, Cloak?
The collective sigh around the ground. I thought it was on the line. We couldn't see from here that they'd be in the grandstand rising it.
Well, I think Collingwood fans would already be thinking about lining up and seeing if they can get grand final tickets for next week, because they'll be playing in the grand final and looking for their first flag for 20 years. Ling gets a hand pass out to Selwood. Went pretty quiet. Comes up to Burns. Burns slung to the ground by Swan. And the kick finishes up with Ablett. Who burns away from them. Too quick for Pendlebury. Gets inside the 50. Kicks across the face of goal with the outside of the boot and finds Stevie J, who marks.
How good was Ablett's acceleration?
Pete, but the kick is running not at the goal, but towards the left-hand point post. His available man over the back of his opponent on the right side point post. He's just kicked it neatly off the outside of his boot at incredible speed, placed it in his hands. Unbelievable skill.
Just a fantastic player. Already 34 possessions as Johnson kicks the goal at the punt road end. Just their 5th goal for the night at 5-7, trailing the Pies 16 goals, 10.
Kelly Underwood.
Jared, just as you were talking about, and you didn't want to get any injuries for Collingwood, some real concerns down here for Luke Ball. He limped from the ground. It was a problem with his left leg, and I believe it was his hamstring. He tried to walk it out. It looked like initially it might have just been a cramp. He's gone down into the rooms. They were looking at putting some ice on the hamstring. Instead, he's opted to go down into the rooms. Let's just hope it was a corky or a cramp. I didn't actually see him pull up short at all, so I don't think it was a serious hamstring injury, but he is still down in the rooms.
Oh, well, let's just hope, hey. If anyone deserves to be playing in the grand final next week, it's Luke Ball.
Absolutely, and he has ran hard tonight. Like, he has ran exceptionally hard tonight.
So Ball off the field, injured. Collingwood leading by 69 points. Bounce back in the middle. Corey with a hand pass, didn't go anywhere. Pendlebury pulled it clear. Towed it up near side bottom. Spreads it out to Thomas and up now to Beams. He takes it. He can't quite burn off Virginski. So backward he goes to Thomas, who just controls the play and delivers it backward to Ben Reid. And Johnson presented in short. Reid kept his eyes firmly forward on the longer kick and delivers in that direction now. Hitting the Packers Cloak. Lonergan went with him. Neither got a glove on it. Lonergan at the spillage. Hand pass to Selwood. Off to Virginski and back to Selwood. He sets the Cats around the wing and Steve Johnson marks. Flares the hand pass out in front of Burns. Needs it to sit. He does. He closes to 60 and kicks to Podsiadly in the pockets.
Well, game's opened up a little bit, hasn't it?
You know, is it because Collingwood
on a turnover, they got the run going? They can give them 7 goals, won't make
probably.
A difference.
I just don't think they can apply the defensive pressure when the scoreboard's like that way, and just that little inch of time and space has helped Geelong play their normal game.
Yeah.
I believe Collingwood do drop off a level on the run about the 20-minute mark because they run so hard early.
Podsiadly with a set shot, 45-degree angle to the right. He prods at this one, puts it all the way across the face, and in fact kicks it out of bounds on the full.
Well, the next one will go through the middle because the first one missed to the right, the next one missed to the left, so if he gets another shot, he will go right through the height of the bill.
Gee, Luke Ball is walking down there.
Look at the overlap.
Very stiff
Look at the
leg.
overlap for Collingwood. Bang, bang here.
Harry O'Brien, he's run hard. Look at him. He's going to get it, Harry.
Two marks at half-back flank. Harry will lay the shepherd, and they are the best team in the comp at this, Collingwood. And that's a tactic that they've come up with that nobody can quite match. And the kick towards centre wing, the mark taken by Milburn on the logo for the Cats. Squares the ball inboard to Bartel. Little hand pass away to Kelly. He goes long with the kick deep inside 50. Podsiadly again. Good spoil by Nathan Brown. Comes to the front to Pendlebury. A couple of players peel themselves off the deck. They're both Geelong players. Ottens and Podsiadly. In the meantime, Shaw has it and bounces.
Look at
and kicks the half forward. And 2 against 2, the ball knocked towards the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in.
You're right, Chris. If they play wide and you can win it, you can actually come back through the corridor. But you've got to win it.
Yeah, got to win it.
It is a defensive mechanism by Collingwood.
24 played third quarter, 106 plays 37. A little hand pass is clever out to side bottom from Macappa, and side bottom is caught holding the ball.
Yes.
And the tackler rewarded, and the free kick to Enright.
He tried to go that extra step, he balked inside, and he went.
69-point lead, Collingwood's way. Enright kicks across the face of goal for Harry Taylor. And Stokes working for him at half-back. Lonergan's the next link on the kick, and he should run it up to the wing around the southern side and lay the boot into it. Kicks long, Mooney presents, can't hang on, but he does have the crumb. Wedges it up to the square. Harry O'Brien and Steve Johnson, actually they kept each other away from it the whole way to goal, and it just missed into the post from Mooney. Got a fair unimpeded run at the goal front from two blokes who are more interested in wrestling each other in the death group.
I know the score's way out, but they haven't quite had a bit of luck with some of the bounce of the ball, have they?
No, well, there's a clear one.
Here's a long kick to centre wing. Collingwood there have the numbers. Comes to Goldsack, who replaced Leon Davis in the selected side. Goldsack long inside the 50. Cloak there has a bit of a wrestle with Lonergan. It comes to the back to Swan. He gets boot the ball. It runs towards the goal line, but a desperation dive right on the line by Hunt. Rushes are behind.
Back at 69 points with the behind a piece. The kick into Vaginski, off to Corey, into the midfield for Milburn. Kick up over the top for Chapman. All went back one-handed, didn't mark, but does have it. Unloads from 55. Steve Johnson and Harry O'Brien reconvene on the behind line. Neither can touch it again. It's through for a behind off the boot of Chapman. Back at 68.
That's Chappie's first score tonight, a behind. He kicked 10 goals in 3 finals last year, 10 goals in 3 finals in 2007, and he's kicked just 2 goals in 3 finals this year. Pies are just fiddling about with the ball at the back edge of the centre square. Ben Johnson gets another touch as we approach three-quarter time. 26 and a quarter played in the third quarter. The kick up to a contest. Ablett works his man off the ball, Blair. Well, the hand pass comes out towards centre wing. Bartel's a sitting duck and is run down and spun in the tackle, taken to ground by Lee Brown. And the umpire said no prior opportunity. And,
shocking handball by Varco, wasn't it? Took about 10 minutes to get there through the air, and the bloke was dead before the ball arrived.
There's the bounce. They wrestle. Bartel third up. Gets it to Stokes, to Ablett, to Ling. Ling's kick towards half forward. Ottens gathers below his knees, gets the hand pass to Bartel, who ducks through the tackle. Hand pass to Ablett. He gets inside the 50. Another beautiful, delicate pass. And Varco marks in the corridor, 45 from goal.
Why wouldn't he shoot on goal?
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, he had every right to do so, wouldn't he? Was he just proving that he is a team player?
Well, Ablett again. Vision.
Well, he's averaging 31 possessions a game this year, Ablett. He's already up to 36 with over a quarter to play. Varco, the beneficiary, kicks from about 47. The drop punt is away to the right hand. Oh, he just got it. Just beat the right hand goalpost. And Travis Varco, who kicked their first goal, and fact, their only goal in the first quarter now gets his second.
They got 3 in a row.
Well, the question you asked, though, I guess, Chris, is this a result of an uplift in Geelong's capacity to play and score, or is it more a result of the diminishing work rate of Collingwood? I would think it's the second.
Charity.
I think you said it. Once the pace has gone out slightly out of the game, that's given Geelong the extra time to play their normal game.
Yep.
When the tempo was up, they couldn't execute.
So it's Collingwood by 62 points. 28 minutes up on the clock in the third term. Hawkins against Lee Brown. Brown, beautiful tap to Pendlebury. He took a week. Ablett ran him down. Ablett gathered the ball. He's held up in the tackle, so he couldn't escape.
Probably the biggest involvement in the game is the second ruckman. This is the prototype, a guy who can play forward 56% of the time and just ruck for 20, 25 and let the main ruckman do their job.
Probably Hawkins that time, down to Corey, up and down on the spot. Ling hammers it clear of the pack. Steve Johnson takes it. The blind hand pass out to the right for Stokes. Back to Steve Johnson, 60 from goal. Short kick, Ablett keeps running. And he takes the mark inside the 50.
If he has signed the multi-million-dollar contract, and if he's going, full credit to him, because he's played out of his skin tonight in what's going to be his last game possibly for the Cats.
He's arguably one of the greats of all time, I reckon, that I've seen.
Yep.
He's out against the boundary on the right-hand side. He's kicked 262 goals in his career at Geelong. From 40 metres out, he adds a behind across the face of goal. And the margin stands at 61 points.
Those floggings I was talking about, they were mid-season. In 2006, the Cats won by 102. The Pies won over the Cats by 102. And in 2008, it was 86. So twice in mid-season, during this time of dominance by the Cats, somehow Collingwood have got hold of them to a massive degree. And they've done it again here in a game that really counts. Not mid-season, but in a preliminary final. Collingwood just flipping the ball around in defence. Dane Swan gets another possession. We might have to look at his possessions, because he's up to 26 now. And there's the siren for three-quarter time. He's never had 40 in a game. Maybe Dane Swan can get 40 tonight. And I tell you what, it's going to be a huge week for him next week, because he'll go to the Brownlow night on Monday and probably win it. He'll play his 150th game in a grand final and probably win that. What a season. Three-quarter time, Collingwood 16-11, 107. Lead Geelong 6 goals, 10, 46. For the Pies, spread them around. 2 goals for Pendlebury, 2 for Cloak and 2 for Swan. And the rest all singles for Didak, Thomas, Lee Brown, Beams, Wellingham, Sidebottom, Ben Johnson, McCaffer, Dawes. He nearly went horse going through all those. And for Geelong, Barco 2 goals and singles for Burns, Johnson, Steve Johnson, Mooney and Stokes. Three-quarter time in the prelim final. The Pies, are they Premiership Pies? 16-11, 107. Geelong 6-10, 46.
In the NRL tonight, full time in the first semi-final, the West Tigers held off the fast-finishing Canberra Raiders. The Tigers progressed 26 to the Raiders 24. And in the A-League, late in the game, it's the Newcastle Jets 1, leading Perth Glory 0. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Digital Radio.
In April 2008, John Fain and his son Jack closed the door on their Melbourne home, leaving jobs, studies, family and friends, and went overland to London in their trusty four-wheel drive. This intelligent and funny book recalling the countries they visited, people they met and trouble they got into, is also the story of a tender father-son relationship. From Here to There by 774's John Fain is available now from ABC shops, centres, good bookshops and online.
Grandstand AFL.
Didak flicked it out the side. Pendlebury has it. Standing start. Wedges it for Swan. Swan comes in and makes it 70.
Side bottom in midfield. Hand pass to Swan, who ducks a tackle. Kicks long towards full forward. 1-on-1 again. And the mark has been taken by McCaffer. Kicks it. Ben Johnson gets a lucky hand pass at the back of the pack. He hoists it high to the goal square, and standing his ground to take the mark is Wellingham at the top of the goal square. He kicks it. Burns slung to ground by Swan, and the kick finishes up with Ablett, who burns away from them. Too quick for Pendlebury, gets inside the 50, kicks across the base of goal with the outside of the boot and finds Stevie J. Umar. As Johnson kicks the goal at the Punt Road end.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio.
It's Collingwood by 61 points. Kelly Underwood, any further sightings of Luke Ball?
No, Luke Ball has not emerged after going down into the rooms at about the 20-minute mark. Jared, there is a real possibility that this could be absolutely devastating news for Luke Ball. I saw him jog off. He didn't limp, he didn't walk off. He did actually jog off, and then he grabbed his left hamstring, spoke to the doctors. It looked to me like a cramp or a spasm. He was trying to stretch it out. They went for the ice pack. He said no, and they went straight down into the rooms. He hasn't emerged. If he has injured his hamstring, this could be a real sporting tragedy, given everything that Luke Ball has been through in the last 12 months. Certainly, just talking to other people down here on the boundary line, officials, we can't get hold of anyone at Collingwood, but certainly the word is not good out of the rooms. It looks like it is some sort of hamstring injury.
That's a real pity. Collingwood by 61 points. Peter Schwab, David Park and Chris Connolly.
Oh, well, just quickly, Dave, the statistics, Collingwood are, with their kicking, are well up. Handballs, and Geelong nearly 100 more handballs. The discrepancy in disposals is 50 in favour of Geelong. Contested marks 12 to Collingwood and 5 to Geelong. Contested possessions about even. Tackles slightly in favour of Collingwood. Centre clearances pretty even. Cats have fought back since quarter time with inside 50s. It's been 26-25 in Collingwood's favour. But still, what's that, 27 scoring shots out of 48 entries isn't too bad. The Cats got better. They're running at about 50%, but clawed their way back. They're 81 points down at the 12-minute mark when Wellingham scored a goal, so full credit to them in some ways. They won the quarter in the finish. They won by a point. That's something. Trying to find a positive.
No, I try. And look, Chris made the point during the season, during that quarter, about the second ruckman and what he will become in the game in the future. And the two opposed to each other tonight are Hawkins, obviously, and Lee Brown. And to this point in the game, Hawkins has touched the ball 6 times. The big, strong bloke has not taken a single mark, and he's hasn't
had a kick, though.
Hasn't had a kick in the game, and 6 handballs. And Lee Brown has had the ball 12 times, so that's double the times he's taken 5 marks, as a man of that size should take.
2 contested.
And 2 contested marks against it. So that combination, which Chris talked about, I think it's terribly important. They end up playing against each other because they tend to rest at the same time. Luke Ball, I think his history is not with hamstring. I don't think in his career, from my memory, we did a fair bit of work on him.
Had a bit of groin trouble.
He's had a groin trouble, but not that. And then we saw at 3/4 time, Chris made the point to me, we had an emotional appeal by Bomber at quarter time, and it was an emotional appeal. Nothing evolved from that. At 3/4 time, surprised in the last game that they went off to their individual coaches, or line coaches, whatever you call them, Chris, and the coach didn't come to this time. I think he said, well, the emotionality which I gave him early in the game is just giving me a sore throat, so I'll let the other blokes have a crack.
Ablett's up to 37 possessions with a quarter to play, but interestingly, he's had his best goal-kicking year in his life. 44 goals for the season, but he hasn't kicked a goal in 3 finals yet. Dane Swan, 26 possessions.
So the siren sounds for the final term. It's Geelong's last of the season and Collingwood's last rehearsal for the big dance next weekend. Up she goes in the middle. Maybe Hawkins down to Ling. Tumbles the kick up to half forward. Sliding in as Burns. Struggled to release it. Varco's caught by Maxwell. Pendlebury keeps it in dispute for a moment. Selwood emerges with it. Kicks it to full forward. Podsiadly in front. Takes the contested mark. Nathan Brown all over him late, but Pods was able to hang on.
Gee, it is a good mark, isn't it? It's a pity he wasn't able to take a few more early, but that is a good grab under pressure.
He just needs to kick a goal. He's had 2 shockers, and he's dead in front for his confidence.
He's had 1 left, 1 right, and this one's through the middle.
A little bit of momentum for Geelong.
48 for the season, Pods. It's pretty close range. He'll be about 25 out. Podsiadly lets fly and misses right. hooked it badly. 2 behinds and 1 out of bounds tonight.
Not good enough. That's bad.
It was closer.
Well, first minute of the quarter, you're down by 6 goals.
Yeah.
You kick one, who knows? You might get a bit of a run on. They still may, but that's a bad miss.
Oh, how he longs for Cardinia Park. Shaw to kick in for the Pies. Kicks to himself and then goes for distance outside the 50. Jolly hands to it, and it comes to Goldsack, who sweeps the hand pass up to centre wing for Didak. What a season. Didak's kick towards half forward. This time Cloak's caught behind and Lonigan gets there first to fist the ball away over the boundary line.
What about Goldsack's run then? He did the length of the square by 10 at like a sprinter over 100 metres, and he was on the end of the next one. That is unbelievable power running.
Here's the throw in. Jolly wins a beautiful ball down to Pendlebury, who hoists it high inside the 50. Cloak taken down by Lonigan. Free kick, Cloak.
Too strong. Just push back hard on him. I reckon he's a bit stiff there, Lonigan. I would have called play on. Cloak had hold of him as much as he had hold of him. That's a wrong call. Play on that was. Jolly hasn't done much, David. We're talking about Hawkins.
Yeah, he's not been great.
Jolly hasn't really touched the football either.
3 possessions, I think, Pete, something like that.
Yeah, well, it's
a bit of disappointment.
Just a night, isn't it?
Just a night.
When you're dominant.
And here's Travis Cloak. He's kicked 2 goals, 2. Fairly wide out. 40 from goal. But he's kicking them tonight. He's the leading goal kicker on the ground with 3. 17-11, 113 to 6-11, 47.
Now that was a difficult contest to umpire, and this is one of the things I'm critical of in the game. It was the wrong decision in a preliminary final inside 50. It cannot happen.
Yeah.
You need to have 2 umpires inside 50 so you can at least position yourself and give yourself every chance of making the right call on those contests. So you do need 2 umpires in the midfield, one umpiring the ruck clearance, the other at ground level.
Yeah, and Cloak held him first.
Well, he should have got the free kick, Lonigan. So it was a turnaround, and it's going to affect the outcomes of our game. So we're a game that doesn't go to the video replay, so we've got to make sure we've got umpires positioned well, particularly inside forward 50s.
I don't know how he could call that.
Chris Connolly on grandstand to AFL. Collingwood by 66 points. Selwood rips the ball out of the centre. Gets it up to half forward. Steve Johnson and Harry O'Brien. Ball spills clear. Varco to Mooney to Corey around the corner. Selwood's kept going and he takes the mark. He'll feed it off and Burns in the square will kick the goal.
Well, we've waited, you say, for a long time, Pete, for the contest to be used, the hands to work well, back up, flick the ball, good usage at them coming at the ball and a flip over the top. That's the Geelong that we've been used to for the last 3 seasons. Almost the first time that collective unit has delivered.
Burns with a couple, 17-11, 113. Collingwood, Geelong, 7-11, 53.
I think Joel Selwood, he's good around clearances, but he really is a play creator ahead of the ball. So if the team's not winning enough of the ball, his game suffers a lot, I believe. And that's why Geelong in the first half did take him out of the midfield, but they did win contested possessions there.
Yeah, well, that's a good insight, because most people say he's the best inside player in the competition, picking for that, but I think that's a very good call on it.
Once the ball comes into general play.
Bounce back in the middle. Jolly looks straight at Hawkins. Swan. Hand passes to himself. Regathers. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Pendlebury a little hand pass to Ben Johnson. Johnson runs uncontested towards the 50. He draws them and skirts the boundary line towards the goal square. Lonigan works in front this time and punches towards the boundary line and gets it out of play for a throw in alongside the behind post.
It's incredibly strong, Cloak. Even then, Lonigan had the best position, but Cloak forced him into a spoil.
Throw in straight into the corridor out in front of goals, Collingwood. Little Blair fights hard for the ball but can't extricate himself from the pack, and the umpire to bounce.
They're very dangerous, Collingwood, here, because it's not the first contest. It's when the ball goes outside and then comes back in, that's where they get you.
At At the bounce, Hawkins knocks it down to Selwood, caught in the tackle, got the hand pass out though to Ling, and off to Enright, kicks up into the midfield, it bounced on its point, Shaw came through, contested against Stokes, Shaw did a good job to hold that ball in and prevent its escape in Geelong hand.
And they're still winding that bloke off the back of the contest here, still winding him back. Captain's gone back now into the space.
Margin 60 points. Lee Brown again and dodges straight through the pack, throws it on the left boot, kicks to full forward. Jolly is there, but in front is Harry Taylor to take the mark in defence for the Cats. Well, they won the third quarter by a point, the Cats, and they might well win the last quarter, but to no avail. This game well and truly won by the Pies. Barco's hand pass to Ling. He kicks towards half forward. And Podsiadly from about midway point of the third quarter coming into it. He marks off to Ling and a good kick by Ling. And it finds Stokes out wide in the forward pocket.
I mean, you do need Ling. That's where he's going to get some effectiveness, is running through the midfield. I know he's slow, but he actually does use the ball.
Matthew Stokes, who had a controversial start to the season, suspended by the club, didn't play until round 8, but has played every game since. Kicks from about 40 metres, close to the left-hand goalpost. That's good enough. Stokes gets his second goal, and the Cats go to 8-11-59 to Collingwood 17-11, 113.
Nice finish. Wasn't the easiest goal to kick from the angle, but he is a good finisher, Stokes.
Well, they've only got to kick 10 unanswered now, and they're back in it.
Well, that won't happen. Let's just see how much they can claw the margin back by, if at all.
From a little wager with Chris is looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Not going to get to 100.
The interest in this.
How much do we have on that?
I'll let you know afterwards. Probably as much as you've got available, which is not much these days.
Collingwood eased off when they got that injury, but that does go to the point that was made in the pre-match. They rely so heavily on their rotations that they can't run in the same manner. Yep. If they were to get an injury early in the grand final, it would profoundly affect the way they play. Didak kicks it out of the middle. Blair got caught in a tackle. He went round and released the footy, but not to keep possession. Milburn off to Chapman. Tumbles his kick beyond halfway. Gave Barco not a lot of hope. Chapman goes into tackle. Blair to ground. And there we'll have a bounce between the wing and right half forward for the Cats.
Well, he's not been good by foot tonight, Chapman, I thought.
Okay, that one.
But I reckon generally tonight he's been pretty ordinary by foot.
At the bounce, Ottens tried to sweep it back over the top, was unsuccessful in doing so. Ling to Steve Johnson with the hand pass, fires the hand pass to Milburn to open up the play through Chapman. He stabs the kick in the Selwood direction. He had 3 against him. The ball spills to the back and Kaczynski is onto it. He kicks on the left and can't get any curl on the ball. He blazes it out of bounds on the full and the margin stays 54.
That's been a knock on him for too long, isn't it? I mean, it was on his left side. His kicking has not been great.
Kicked only 6 goals for the season, but it was never a real good certainty to kick that one. Nick Maxwell takes the mark from the kick in. Right half back. He kicks over the wing. Dawes underneath the ball. Cloak is there. But Lonergan emerges with a hand pass to Ling. Hand pass off to Kaczynski. And his pass on the bounce towards half forward. Sets it up for Reid of Collingwood, this youngster. Hand pass away to Shaw. He kicks out wide. He'll play in a grand final. He's short, just like his father Ray.
Never looked in the corridor, Shaw. He immediately went wide.
To McCaffer, who marks a millimetre inside the line. He goes down that line, and the mark is taken by Wellingham.
They'll do it again. Unless someone's dead set in space inside, they'll do it again.
Hugging in the boundary goes Wellingham. Gets it towards the 50. Oh, close. What a mark. Under pressure from Lonergan. Terrific mark.
Too strong.
Has he had that all night? Harry Taylor hasn't had him at all, has he?
I think Lonergan's had him all night.
So that was the reason for keeping him and building him into the game from last week.
Well, he's wide out. He was pretty wide out for his previous goal. He's going for number 4.
He's one of 8 players I want to talk about afterwards for Geelong. Lonergan.
Travis Cloak from about 52 metres. Good purchase on the pill.
but he hooked it and missed to the right-hand side.
And that's where you've got to look at where Cloak might be shooting for goal. I know his accuracy's not great, but that's not a percentage kick.
55 points, the Collingwood lead. Kick in Foundling, off to Ablett. Kicks out to half-back. Corey, fingertipper, didn't pull it in. Thomas closes. Corey gets it off to Steve Johnson. Took the tackle of Thomas, just about dropped it. Thomas applies a third tackle to Corey. He releases it though to Steve Johnson. Now to Burns, off to Ling. Looks up to the 50. Kicks for Podsiadly. Found him. And while Ponce goes back to line up, Kelly Underwood.
Sparko's come from the ground very groggy, straight down into the rooms. It was friendly fire with Selwood. He got a cut to the head and was very bloodied as he left the ground. So the Cats bench down to 3 momentarily, and there's still no sign of Luke Ball. So the Pies bench down to 3. Ball down in the rooms. He hasn't emerged since about the 20-minute mark of the third quarter with a suspected hamstring injury.
James Podsiadly with his 4th shot at goal. He has 2 behinds and 1 out on the full. It's close in again, and this time he finds the middle. Podsiadly with his first and his 49th of the season. The Collingwood lead is back at 49 points. And David, I could tell from your tone of those 8 players, that's a list that you really don't want to be on. That would be my suggestion. Your list is what I wouldn't want to be on.
Well, there's some question marks some questions that really have to be asked by the Geelong coaching staff as to where the future is with these players, in my opinion.
I just want to mention Ling's quarter so far. He's had 8 possessions. He's lifted, been very good.
He was number 8.
I know he's... well, yeah, okay.
So he could theoretically get himself off the list?
Yes, I'm just a little bit question marks as it goes here, Jared.
That's back in the centre. Approaching the 13-minute mark of the last quarter. Ball popped up in the air, punched forward by Jolly. Taken by Chapman. Hand pass to Wojcinski and back to Enright. Here's kick to centre wing. Good speed, good leg speed by Burns. Allows him to get there and take the mark. Half a step in front of Shaw. Burns squares the ball inboard to Scarlett. Further across the half back line to Hunt. Off the left boot. Doesn't hit the target, but it sits up okay for Kelly. Kelly from the wing. Kicks inside the 50. Podsiadly on the lead again. Comes up short of him. He leaps high to gather the bouncing ball. Joel Corey running away from goal. Finds Johnson. A shocker by Stevie J. It's out of bounds on the full, and even it only travelled 12 metres and went out on the full. Boy, that you'd laugh if it wasn't so serious.
Pendlebury to Ben Johnson. Kicks up to the wing. Dawes gets himself clear of Kelly to mark. Is it halfway? The Cats have got numbers set back, so Dawes will just have to be patient. And backward he goes to Pendlebury. First time All-Australian this season. Up to Ben Johnson. Works it forward to Didak. Hand pass to Thomas running the boundary. Looks to cut back inboard. There was no way, so he feeds it on to Didak, who runs it half forward. There's no pressure, and Didak goes. And Didak comes up 1 metre short. And on the goal line, Scarlett claims the mark.
Oh, it was the Buddy Franklin boundary line. He was running around the curve of the boundary line and hoofed it off the left, but he couldn't come up with the Buddy kick.
It had the accuracy, all right, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was going through.
There's the crowd posted. 95 we got to. 95,241. That is a phenomenal crowd. In the redesigned MCG with individual seats, I mean, it's held 121,000 in the days of standing room and bench seats, but 95,000, it's unbelievable. Burns overruns the ball, forward to the wing, regathers, hand passes over there to Stokes. Stokes goes back to gather, and the short pass finds Selwood, 65 from goal. Further short pass, and Burns had kept on going and marks about 49 metres from goal. Short pass, and the mark taken by Ottens, who's having a rest in the forward pocket.
Well, look, I know the sting's gone out of the game, but to their credit, they've never thrown it in.
No, they haven't.
And this last quarter's been reasonably good. This will be the 4th in a row if they kick this.
All those who are halfway down the highway, you've actually missed the best part of their performance tonight.
Will you take that into consideration, David, when you unload?
No.
Ottens, 40 metres from goal, has kicked it.
You can only Sorry, Drew, but you can only make those judgments on when the thing is flying, and it's not flying any longer.
That's right. You can give them 9 or 10 goals. Won't make any difference. It's 17-12, 114 to 10-11, 71. So the margin's back to 43.
Yep.
It had been
81, Drew. It was in the third quarter.
81.
Yes, the grandchildren will read the score and they won't know what happened prior, I can tell you.
3 times they've met this season. 88,000 at the first, 84,000 and change at the second, and 95,000 tonight. Frank Costa watches on his last game as president of the Cats. Hawkins into the middle against Jolly, who comfortably wins the tap, and Steve Johnson kicks it off the ground, rolls it to half forward, cut off by Shaw. He spreads it out to Thomas. Thomas out toward the boundary. Blair.
How's that for a perfect kick?
Right on the chalk. 10th game for Jared Blair. He's got a grand final in the offing. He dabbed out the line looking for Tooby. Selwood made the spoil and it's out of bounds.
Not many players play grand finals with that fewer games, do they?
No. Grandfather Bones will be wrapped.
Shelley and Hawkins again form up. Hawkins does okay. Hand pass to Steve Johnson. Got it onto the boot under duress. Up to half forward. Bit of an ugly looking leap from Boons, who had to give away the free kick. Maxwell, hand pass to Didak. Didn't quite arrive. Didak can't handle it. Baczynski to Corey. Quick hand pass to Selwood onto Steve Johnson. Met by McCaffrey, who dumps him. Tooby's met by a couple in the tackle. Blair dispossessed by Selwood. Tooby gets back into the contest to hold up Steve Johnson.
I know he's a highly skilled player, Johnson. Sometimes he just doesn't play percentages. And he kicks those flat punts.
And out on the wing it will be bounced. Just a hot little period of play there. Bartel, third man up, down to Corey, off to Steve Johnson, gets himself balanced on the right boot, kicks to half forward, out came Mooney, Bartel threw it rugby league style, out to the middle of the ground, in right to Kelly, up to Bartel, this is more legal, it kicks up to the 50, oh Didak the spoil, oh he's down Didak, and he looks like he's hurt his left arm, he comes up cradling it. Swan has the footy at half-back. He kicks to halfway. Cloak wrestles with Lonergan. Lonergan spoils. It's out of bounds.
I think he's all right, Didak.
Might be a stinger.
He just pulled his arm back as he... Oh, gee. It's lucky with his knee too, really, the way he landed.
Just propelled himself backward when he landed.
At the boundary throw-in. It's slapped down by Corey to Chapman. A high kick towards the 50. Punch away by Maxwell. On the 50, Shaw gathers. Pokes a little past to Thomas. And Thomas steadies things down at half-back. A few blokes looking after themselves a bit for a grand final next week. Thomas the pass in to Lee Brown. I must admit I'm absolutely gobsmacked at the way Brown's gone late in the season. He's been fantastic. His stats aren't anywhere near Gary Ablett-esque, but gee, what a contribution he's made. Who would have thought it? Thomas shares the ball here with Pendlebury, his Gippsland mate. They played in under-18s premiership. He goes back to O'Brien. O'Brien with a bit of distance, and the mark is taken by another Gippslander.
I would have thought Pendlebury's been quiet since quarter time. That'd be a fair call.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Goldsack has it at centre half back and across to Reid. They're just fooling about with this ball on the back line and just building on their stats.
It's got a man up.
It's nearly 20 minutes gone, so there's probably about 10 minutes to play really, and it's just kick mark for Collingwood. And why wouldn't you?
Geelong aren't good at defending this type of play, A, because it never happens much against them, because they're usually 10 goals in front, and B, because they zone off their defenders, there's confusion on the swap over.
That's poor by Hawkins. Sorry, Chris.
They went the long kick and Dawes came over the top of Hawkins to claim the mark. It was pretty weak by the Cats, big man. Dawes, defensive side of the middle. He kicks it up in the Cloak direction. Numbers are against him. Enright in front. Ball jarred clear though. Beams lost it to Corey. Kelly comes through. Hand pass going to be intercepted by Didak. He kicks to an open forward line. McCaffrey one out. Spoilers made by Scarlett. At the drop is Selwood. Spins around Dawes. Feeds it off to Ling. Up now to Enright. On the overlap running is Varco. Varco to the 50 for Burns. And Burns has it 50 metres out directly in front. Just fancying for a moment that it might be beyond him on last quarter legs. Thought about giving it off. There's nothing to give it to. So Burns is going to have to give it the lot from 53. He made pretty good contact. He's going to come up a metre short. Podsy Adley flies. Didn't mark in the first instance, and then it was rushed through. So the lead is 42 points Collingwood's way. It'd be reasonable to say they're only playing out of obligation at this stage.
Can I just pose the question? St Kilda Western Bulldogs tomorrow night. Collingwood have played 15 home and away games here, probably about 17 games for the season on the MCG. What type of advantage is that?
I would say significant.
I think
so they go into the grand final with a significant advantage.
Yeah, a day earlier and a lot of practice on this wicket.
O'Brien runs out of defence for the Pies, finds Beams, who goes back with a hand pass.
They've just got a man up.
Side bottom's kick smothered by Bartel, but it comes back to side bottom. Off to Maxwell he goes. And the kick by Maxwell to centre wing. Not well delivered, but nearly falls all right for Cloak until Ottens gets in there. Kelly it was, hand passing backwards. Steve Johnson has it now. Pinpoints Ling. Hand passes to Ablett under pressure. Swan got him. Swan receives a hand pass from Tuvey. Tuvey gets it back. Loses it in the tackle. Taken by Milburn. Front edge of the square. Hand pass to Ablett, who palms off O'Brien. Hand pass to Ling under pressure. Ling goes backwards, and not for the first time tonight. A defensive hand pass out the back door. Doesn't hit a target. Hunt under pressure. To Bartel under pressure. Further back. They've gone back 70 metres in possession. Taylor has it on the wing. Just gets past. Goes back again. They have taken it back 90 metres until Scarlett has it. And centre half back, shocking kick. Lee Brown marks. Didak receives. Short pass. Didak gets it back. Kicks off the left towards the goal square. It sits up and side bottom. Kicks the goal, the underground goal.
I'll tell you what, the boy from Shepparton, some skill.
The boy from Shepparton. What about Scarlett's kick on the way out? Under no pressure whatsoever. He's given Collingwood their easiest goal of the night. He's not had Scarlett's had the ball a bit, but not had a great night. I reckon Dawes has had the better of that duel.
But with the game well won, how much pressure did Collingwood put on those Geelong blokes who have stood tall for 3 or 4 years? They were like rabbits in the headlight there.
Yes, it's...
Well, there's no complacency, is there, going into the next game, and that's why Nick Maxwell rounded them up before the three-quarter time huddle and then again after the three-quarter time huddle and gave them 2 serves.
It's Collingwood by 48 points. Blair into the middle and he wins first possession. He boots them to full forward. Spoil put on by Lonergan. All Collingwood at the drop, although Wellingham overran it. Got it off to Beams. He had a late fumble. Taylor makes the spoil. Beams in the tackle. Releases it. Didak to McCaffer. Dragged off it by Hunt. And Hunt mops up for the Cats. Hand pass to Steve Johnson. Looks around the southern wing. He'll kick it for Bartel. Just has a look forward, sideways. He'll now kick it forward as far as he can. Not suited in the marking contest. Any of the Cats. Tuvey is in there to take the mark.
Yes, Tuvey takes the mark. Away to Shaw. Short pass to Maxwell. He could be a premiership captain, Nick Maxwell. That is just fantastic. They'll go in his favourites. Don't care what happens tomorrow night or who wins. This has been a phenomenal performance against the reigning premiers. Pendlebury marks just inside the boundary line. He kicks back to Maxwell, who kicks further back to Shaw on the goal square. Maxwell will get it back. And now the crowd are starting to chant. And I'm surprised that the Collingwood fans have been as quiet as they have been, apart from a few little spells of chanting. I reckon this will go on for the next 5 minutes. And why not? Because they've got the best team in the competition. Ball goes out of play just forward to the wing. And I know the Saints fans will be arguing about it, but the decision will be made next Saturday here at the MCG. The Gold Coat's out. Could have been out about an hour and a half ago. And the chant will get louder and longer.
Blair and Ablett scrap for the ball out against the boundary. Ablett kicks it around the corner, takes a stagger out over the boundary out of the fatigue of it all. Maxwell's dumped to the turf by Hawkins, and it will be thrown in. Maxwell just remonstrates a little at the rough treatments. 26 minutes on the clock. 48 points difference on the scoreboard. Thrown in, Milburn, who might win his last game of his career. He's dispossessed after taking it cleanly and penalised holding the ball. 33-year-old in game 278 tonight. Darren Jolly, first year Magpie. Grand final to count. Long kick, Cloak outnumbered. Lonigan the mark over the top. Looks out to the side, gives it off to Milburn, who spreads out to in right. Near centre half back. He'll come up the corridor. Stokes doesn't give it to Ablett. Goes a little bit longer. There's a wrestle on in the middle of the ground. How curious. Tuvey and Burns are the two players involved. The footy, though, with Baczynski, and he kicks it up to Hawkins. True centre half forward. He gives it the lot. It's going to come up short. It'll be marked nonetheless by Bartel in the teeth of goal. The Cats have kicked 4 goals in this final term. This should be number 5. Collingwood a couple. Bartel with precious little angle to deal with. He makes his approach to the Collingwood Social Club end and kicks what might be the last goal. Bartel this first. The margin is 42 points. Collingwood 18-12, 120 to Geelong 11-12, 78.
Well, congratulations to Mick Malthouse, who has rejuvenated this team with the injection of youngsters. Best example, Jared Blair, in his 9th game, who plays 10th game in a grand final next week, 20 years of age. He's come up with a great team. Cheers for Harry O'Brien as he comes to the bench in the last minute of the game, and Sharad Wellingham goes on to replace him. Final rights to be played. One stage the margin was 80, and after that hasn't meant a lot. That Geelong have had some late goals. Swan gets another touch, but his kick up and down the mine shaft doesn't go anywhere. Ling gets a hand pass out. Milburn a high ball inside the 50. Another chance for a Cats goal. It comes to the front, and a snap by Stokes is offline and through for a minor score. Matthew Stokes, 2 goals, 2 tonight. Just seconds left in the game. Jared, you know what to call it, do you? We got a Collingwood fan to call the last rights.
Shaw boots it in long. Collingwood's time is at hand. They storm into the grand final, and they have this premiership at their mercy. They have dismantled Geelong in a preliminary final. It's a 41-point margin, and for Geelong, their time is over. At quarter time, and the Pies opened up 7 goals to 1. It was 62 at the half. It got to 81 points during the 3rd term and settled at 61 at the final change and 41 at the close. Final score 18 goals 12, 120 to Geelong 11, 13, 79. social club in 1 week and 1 day's time, we'll know for sure. That is how it feels. They gather together out in a tight group on the G to contemplate what awaits. The only man missing is Luke Ball. The Cats make their exit, and for some it will be for the final time. Gary Ablett, in all likelihood, the legacy name at the club, the most famous name in the history of the club. The son who followed the father, he departs in the hoops for what in all likelihood is the final time. He won't be the only one who doesn't front up for Geelong again next season. But we bask with the Magpies, who stay for just that little bit longer. Collingwood by 41 points, first into the grand final.
A wonderful little moment there between Gary Ablett and Dane Swan, who embraced each other at the end of the game, and I wonder if on Monday night Gary will be hanging the Brownlow medal around Dane Swan as the last winner passes it over to the new winner.
Another little moment between the two. They're down to thank their fans, the Magpies, and some of them won't be back either, because that's the tyranny of the ticketing system, as many will have come to the preliminary final and not all have hopes of landing a ticket in the ballot, but they stand and let it all soak in. A thumping good victory in a preliminary final. Couldn't be better for the Spirits, and the only sour note is Luke Ball, who injured a hamstring in the third term and hasn't been sighted again, and it remains desperately unclear as to what his prospects are. Nick Maxwell is their leader. He finishes the television interview on the ground, rejoins them, and he can lead them in.
So the bloke from St Joseph's down Geelong way might be a premiership captain and might beat Cameron Ling to that honour, because Lingy will have to wait a little bit longer for sure.
So they're together at the top of the race and heading down, and we'll savour it all with Kelly Underwood in the Collingwood rooms. Twice the past 3 years they've made this walk at the end of a preliminary final in despair and disappointment, various levels, knowing that the grand final was beyond their reach. It is very much within their grasp now. We'll have the chance to savour it with you. You'll have the chance to contribute with Peter Schwab, David Parkin and Chris Connolly as to what it means and what is to come for Collingwood next week and for Geelong into the future. We'll fling the lines open, 1300 222 774. 1300 222 774. Our news radio audience departing either right in the middle of the song or just before they go. So we'll give you the final score one more time. 18-12, 120 over Geelong, 11-13, 79. Kelly Underwood, you take it up.
And it's the skipper, Nick Maxwell, who has led them in, Jared. And as he arrived in, the players' family and friends, and there's a corporate group here, probably 50 fans already in the rooms. And Nick Maxwell just lifted the fist, punched the air. Here they go, getting into the huddle. The lid just might be officially off. As you can imagine, very exciting scenes in here. It was just the players that were in the huddle. Coach Mick Moldhouse got the biggest cheer as he walked in, but he didn't take part in that huddle. And now all of a sudden a bit of a hush has come over the rooms. And I'll get back to you as soon as we've got a player to talk to.
Kel, just have a look around. Luke Ball's in the full tracksuit there.
I cannot see. Look, I know that Eddie Maguire came in and he was holding the hand of Luke Ball's mother, Jenny. And so he's certainly consoling her and talking to her. And I can see Luke Ball's parents at the back of the room. I'm looking around for Luke, Jared. I'm sure I'll spot him any minute, but I can't see him at this point in time.
Well, he was in the circle in the full tracksuit and he wasn't singing the song hardly at all, because he's not part of it anymore by the looks of him.
I can spot him now, actually. In fact, Scott Pendlebury's over just in the corner talking to him. You're right, he's got the full tracksuit on. He's having a chat to Pendlebury, players coming up, and they appear to be consoling him. They're talking to him. As we said, we fear that he has suffered a suspected hamstring injury. The arms are crossed. He's in the corner. He's out of the way.
Collingwood by 41 over Geelong. They put the song on the scoreboard and many a Collingwood fan stayed and sang it again in unison with the players. David Parkin, let's tidy up what happened tonight before we cast an eye to the future for both sides and work your calls in as well on 1300 222 774.
Well, I think we talked fairly solidly and I hope with some conviction before we started tonight.
Because the man of the season is down with Kelly Underwood.
Very lucky indeed. Dane Swan has joined us so quickly after that huddle and the celebrations, Dane. All the sacrifices, all the hard work. I imagine there's a few childhood boy dreams in there as well, and all of a sudden you find yourself in an AFL grand final. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal at the moment, actually. It's what we work all year for, and it's why we work, flog ourselves in pre-season. So to come away with a pretty comprehensive win on the night was awesome. But we firmly know we've got one more win to go.
I think the lid was officially off with the fans. 95,000 of them at half time. I was down on the boundary. I could hear them booking their tickets, trying to work out the week ahead. Is the lid officially off within the playing group?
No, not yet. But the crowd definitely are. They went berserk tonight, and they've been tremendous for us all year, and hopefully they all get along next week and support us again.
And just a quick one before I throw you upstairs to the boys. Luke Ball looks like he might have suffered a hamstring injury. We see him in the corner of the rooms here in the tracksuit on. Have you had a chance to speak to him, or have you heard any whispers as to what might be going on?
Yeah, I just spoke to him, asked him how he was, and he said hopefully it's just cramp. So he thought he just cramped. So when you're up by 10 goals, no point to risk such a valuable player of our side.
Fingers crossed for him. Boys, some questions for Dane Swan.
Dane, the first one was the intensity at the beginning, that first 15 or 20 minutes. It looked to me up here that it was as physical and contesting wise that you could have expected. That how it was? It delivered, or did it come a little easier than you thought?
No, we knew with the week off we were pretty fresh, so we knew we had to come out and really bury him early and make sure we didn't give him a sniff, because they can kick multiple goals really quickly. And we knew, I think, the first 5 or 10 minutes the ball was in our forward half of the ground. That's really what we wanted to do, and apply some pressure and put some doubt in their head early. And our first quarter was awesome tonight. And getting the result too, Dane. You went in 4 or 5 times to score heavily tonight. Hasn't been, the best in the past. That certainly does help, doesn't it? Yeah, I think we kicked pretty well tonight, which was good. So hopefully we got all the bad ones out during the year, mate, and kicking pretty well.
Dane, we sort of made a comment that playing at the MCG so much, is it a super advantage for you as a team, knowing it so well?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've played 10 in a row here, or maybe a bit more in a row here now. So we're very familiar with the ground, and we're very comfortable with the ground. And I think it really suits us the way we play. And if we can take any advantage we get, so we'll certainly take it.
And just out of interest, what's the program already mapped out for the team between now and next week?
No, it's not. We haven't been in the rooms yet, but I would dare say it'd be pretty similar to most weeks. I don't think we'd want to change too much. I'm not sure what kind of things we have to attend or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday for us.
Congratulations.
And Dane, the adjustments around Leon Davis being out, from where we sit, we thought, gee, that's a big shake-up in the team. What was your thoughts there, and what's his chances next week?
It was obviously very disappointing for Leon. He's been a valuable member of our side for the last 9 years, and for him to miss out in a preliminary final, it was pretty disappointing. But he's a great team man. He told us whatever's best for the side, and Mick thought that Goldie would be a better in tonight. And on next week, man, I've got no idea. We'll probably Mick's always said it's horses for courses, so we'll have to see who wins tomorrow night, and then Mick will pick his side.
What sort of attention did you get tonight, Dane? You were the main subject of tactical discussion during the week. How did it play out?
Yeah, the first half, sort of no one really. Every now and then someone would come to me, but no one really. But then Ling Ling came to me through probably halfway through the second, and then from then on he stayed with me. So Ling.
How often do you reckon you're getting a hard tag at the moment, and how often are they sort of playing head to head with you?
It's 50-50, I reckon. It's hard to tell because we've got so many great midfielders now. They have to pick and choose who they want, but the Bulldogs didn't last week, and Geelong sort of did from halfway through the second tonight. So depending on who wins tomorrow night, it's up to their coach, I suppose. I'm happy either way. If I get a tag, well then I try and bring other players into the game. If I don't, well, I just try and do my thing.
So does it change the way you play significantly by what the attention you get?
Yeah, a little bit. I probably think I have a mindset where I have to work a lot harder when I get tagged. and I have to bring others into the game where I'll probably run a bit harder, whereas if I'm not getting tagged, sometimes subconsciously I think I'll probably get the easy one, but all in all I try and work as hard as I possibly can, and if it falls my way, it falls my way, and I've been pretty lucky this year.
There was a little moment at the end of the game where you had a bit of a chat to Gary Ablett. I reckon you'll be seeing him on Monday night late.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see him Monday night. I said I'll see you in Ireland, so I think I'm going to go to Ireland too, so if he goes, I said I'll see you there.
You've got an amazing week coming up with Monday night, and I suppose hot favourite for the medal. Next week you'll play your 150th, a milestone game in a grand final. Can't get much better than that.
Yeah, all my milestones have been in finals at the moment, so Mick never mentions them, so it's been disappointing. I don't get mentioned, so I think the granny will probably take a bit more precedence in my 150th next week, mate. Guys,
we might have to leave it there because they're filing into a meeting, an all-important meeting. Dane, I just want to ask you one last one. You got the right sleeve is all finished and topped off, but you got a bit of colour to add to the left sleeve. Any chance you're going to pop into a tattoo parlour and get it done before Saturday? I'll have to speak to my tattoo guy. If I can't get it done tomorrow, I won't, because I like to get it done early in the week. You're in for a big week. Congratulations and all the best. Thanks very much. Thanks, guys.
Well, I don't reckon we've spoken to too many players down the years whose grand final preparations might include just getting their tats touched up.
It's usually the Tuesday after.
He wasn't having any lenders either, I'll tell you.
No, he's not. He's been getting the work done steadily on the other arm.
His tattooist will be texting him right now.
That's hilarious. Look, Collingwood by 41 points. I do want to get to you shortly, your calls, but just into the Geelong rooms where Adam White has sort of soaking it all in down there.
Thanks, Jared. Some of the supporters actually are now starting to file through the door. It was quite extraordinary scenes, Jared, because the Cats players got to their rooms before Collingwood did. It was all single file. No one spoke to anybody. They were just completely shocked. Jimmy Bartell was the first into the room, followed by Cameron Ling. They all filed in. They all just sat down with their backs up against the wall. Again, not one person spoke until the message came out that they needed to file into the meeting room. But amazingly, the door remained open to the change rooms, and the players could all hear Collingwood singing the song from the adjacent room. It was quite eerie to see it, and quite a few of the Geelong players in disgust got up and left before they finished the song. The last player lying on his back with just staring into the roof was Gary Ablett, and then he went in with his teammates into the meeting room where he faced the coach and some of the assistant coaches. As I said, some of the supporters are now filing into the room, and we'll endeavour to get an interview from the Geelong room shortly. Back to you.
Okay, Collingwood by 41 points. A couple of quick calls and then David Parkin. Glenn in Werribee was first on the line. Glenn, welcome to Grandstand AFL.
G'day, Jared and the boys. Great call tonight. At least it was in sync with the TV for a change, which was good. So I could listen to you guys. I'm a Collingwood supporter and I'm absolutely wrapped, mate. Absolutely wrapped.
You feeling the optimism, Glenn?
Pardon?
Are you feeling the optimism?
Oh, well, yeah. I don't think I felt like this since 1990, mate.
Well, Glenn, what are you hoping would come for next week? Which one do you want?
Sorry?
Which one do you want next week? After they smash themselves to pieces tomorrow, which one do you want to bob up in a week's time? So you want St Kilda, do you?
Yep, I reckon we'll knock them off, mate. I think we got... although I like to play Footscray, I think it'll be more of a challenge to play St Kilda.
Magnanimous of you, Glenn. Marvellous to have you with us. Call us again after they win it next week. Good man. Stephen is in Launceston. Stephen, welcome to Grandstand AFL.
G'day, guys. Great call. Great entertainment by you fellas. Listen, just wondering, about 18 months ago, or 12 months ago, when they announced the Buckley takeover, there was all these doomsday saying, we're going to fold, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, they're going to get knives in the Maltese back. We don't hear them now. Where are they?
They are very quiet.
Yeah, but I reckon the system, I've always believed, and I spoke to both of those guys along the way, and in my mind they have put together a succession plan that not only can work but will work, because both of them are very, very professional guys. And I think having Mick in that position as the most astute and mature person, he'll manage this transition, and he'll manage, I would have thought, Nathan extremely well in his initial time in the role. I don't have any problem. I mean, people are jumping up and down and saying, here's the best coach in the competition. I think that's probably right. Why would you force him to step away at this time? And I think they're doing it, and I don't know. I haven't been behind the scenes to find out who was pushed or if anybody was, or this was an agreement was made. But to me, it's where football will go, no doubt about it. And it's time Australian football, like every other major invasion game in the world, works with a coach manager, somebody that manages the people on a daily basis who in fact are doing the work. So I congratulate them on the vision they've had, and to this point at least the way they've been able to put this process into place.
Well, that's what English soccer does.
Yeah,
they have a manager
and American
and
football.
a coach.
American football's the same. You know, I worked with Tom Landry in the 80s all the way through, and he sat over the top of 8 blokes who did the daily work. He just gave a bit of direction, a bit of encouragement, put the brakes on, but they actually did the work.
I don't think they're caring at the moment, because they're going to play off in a grand final. So
Their first grand final since 2003. Collingwood 18-12, 120 over Geelong 11-13, 79.
And the number 5, who might be a premiership captain, who would have thought it would be Maxwell instead of Buckley?
Yes, that is an interesting, isn't it? I think Mr. Maxwell might get his photograph.
Take us in whatever direction you'd like to. David Park and Peter Schwab, Chris Connolly.
Just a couple of things. One of the guys, 6 or 7 days, you want to be in Collingwood's position right now in terms of having that extra 24 hours.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I know. What time's the game tomorrow?
Normal time, my time, same time.
It's for TV, isn't it?
Yep.
Because to be fair, they should be playing at daytime.
Yeah, so what you're saying then, that is whoever comes through and wins are at an added disadvantage by having less than 24 hours.
I think everything's so tight that St Kilda deserved to play Friday night as well, didn't they? Or did Collingwood, because they finished on top?
I think Collingwood get an advantage by being minor premiers.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
They look at the extra day's break for it.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
But I also think St Kilda or the Bulldogs deserve every opportunity to play a fraction earlier, so that they're closer in time to the end of this game than what they will be.
And there wasn't it, if an interstate team played, if Sydney had got through, am I right in saying that? The game, for their travel reasons, now the others haven't got travel reasons, I must admit, but for their travel reasons, the game was going to be played at lunchtime tomorrow, or in the middle of the afternoon.
And I know what people say, does 8 hours make much difference? I don't know, it might.
Well, what do you reckon, Chris?
Yeah, I think it does. But I agree with Drew that if you end up on top, I think one of the weaknesses in our sport is the grand final's the premiership's the only prize. I mean, if you end up on top, you deserve things. And this is one thing you deserve.
An
the best look at getting to the grand final.
I don't disagree with that. But I also think, I know it's TV, but I think the game tomorrow should have been played in the afternoon.
And the manner this game was played, the manner which Collingwood are playing right now, who do we want as non-biased viewers for the next week? Who do we want to come through which have the greatest chance with the method and the players and the form and the confidence they have at the moment to actually make a game of the grand final?
I think I agree with Glenn. Was it Glenn or who were we speaking to?
Yeah, Glenn. Was Glenn.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think St Kilda would let Collingwood kick 18 goals.
Absolutely not. I think St Kilda would fancy their chances against Collingwood because they won't let them get the game on their terms. Ross Lyon coaches against the opposition, Mick Moldhouse coaches against the opposition. When a Mick Moldhouse's team at the moment takes on a play-creating team like the Western Bulldogs or Geelong or the ones that charge over the hill, he just picks them off and everything is played on their terms, and that gives them a great shot of confidence. But if you look at St Kilda's grand final form last year, as long as they win tomorrow night, I think they'd certainly fancy their chances.
Well, on that basis, you'd say that the coach of the Geelong Football Club right now would be actually starting to think about the method which they use. Has it got past its used by date in a sense that they're being able to be picked off in a method by... We all agreed that the most talented group that walked down to the ground tonight was in fact Geelong. And their method with that talented group, we were talking 6 weeks ago, and this very box we were talking about, was it the end of a dynasty? We had a sniff and a bit of a taste and a bit of a smell that it was. There is no doubt in my mind now that the dynasty we've known. There'll be a few, little humps and bumps along the way, but in fact, they're gone.
Back into the Collingwood rooms, Kelly.
And Harry O'Brien's been good enough to join us. Harry, it's the first grand final for the Magpies in 7 years, but it's the first grand final for you. At what point in the game did you first enter your mind, hang on, I might be playing in an AFL grand final next week?
I reckon probably halfway through the third quarter. Geelong's such a good side, and they can do phenomenal things, so you never take the foot off the pedal. But yeah, probably halfway through the third quarter, when we just had control of the ball, I thought, looks like we'll be in a grand final.
What's your mind just must be swirling with all sorts of different emotions and thoughts at the moment. What's the overriding feeling?
It's just absolutely surreal. We're just stoked, but we know we've got one more week to go, and we're one win away from being premiers, and so we're just really focused on that.
The coach just called you in. It was short and sweet. What was the message?
Just that, simply, well done. Let's not rest on our laurels. We've got one more week to go. There's going to be a lot of distractions, so make sure we handle it right, and we'll be briefed about that a bit later on. But he's really proud of us. But he said, we've got one more week. We were so close.
Guys, some questions for Harry O'Brien. He's got the headphones on.
Harry, what was the focus against Geelong tonight? What was the main one or two focuses?
I think the focus was that we know that our best football can beat any team, and we know that no one can pressure like us, no one tackles like us, and that was just the focus. Is just a relentless hunting of the man and the ball.
Harry, can I ask you then, did you actually take the pressure off a bit, or was it impossible to apply the physical run that you do? It's just magnificent to watch. Or did Geelong kick up a bit at the finish and play just a little bit better, or was there a combination maybe of both?
I think it's a combination. I think subconsciously, when you've got control of the game, you can't help but just, I don't know, the heat goes out of the game, and you just... and Geelong started, picked up the pace, so it was a combination of both.
And we were amazed watching the work of you back six, Harry, and the way it's not the captain who takes over, but whenever there's any stoppage forward of you, midfield or forward, the reorganisation of the man dropping back off the contest and the extra bloke, everybody sort of gets involved in that, don't they? It's not one captain or captain of the back six that actually directs it.
That's right. I think the inclusion of Scott Waters as the defensive coach, we went from just really relying just on Nick Maxwell to lead the group, but he wanted us to all be leaders without a title, and for everyone to when their time comes to be able to direct. And I think we've evolved throughout the season, and you got net guys now we put the pressure on people like Ben Reid and Nathan Brown to take some ownership. Take some ownership, and over the course of the year they've done that, and it just helps.
Harry, can I just say, and I was amazed how long you stayed on the ground. I mean, that back six for much of the game was together. You didn't have nearly the rotations that Blake's in other parts. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's the way that Mick plays. That's the sacrifice that us backs have to make. Is we have to stay on the ground so that our mids and our forwards can rotate, and we love it that way, because we just all we all chip in and play our role.
Harry, do you sit back now and just watch on TV tomorrow night?
Yeah, certainly. Just watch with interest, but at the same time keep our mind fresh, and you can't help but not watch it. And it's just going to be it's just a fantastic week ahead of us.
Yeah. Do you know who's coming, Harry?
Sorry?
Do you know who's coming? Is it going to be St Kilda, or is it going to be West? You got any idea?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I just hope it's a really hard game, and there's a few sore bodies.
Absolutely.
Harry, when did Leon find out he wasn't playing?
I'm not too sure. I think it might have been either late yesterday or as soon as we got into this morning. I'm not too sure. It's something that we don't try to get too involved in, and I suppose have too much of an emotional reaction to selection. So we just have faith in the match committee to do what they're paid for, and that's to put the best team on the field every week.
Are you feeling the excitement, Harry?
Oh, absolutely. I've never heard the crowd like that. When they started chanting Collingwood halfway through the second quarter, it was just phenomenal. And that's probably the first time that, and I was talking to the players as well, the first time the crowd has significantly influenced the players on the field. The players we all said we lifted an extra 10-15% with our pressure just because of that, with the supporters.
Will you have family over during the week and everybody lobbing on your doorstep?
There'll be teachers from grade 2 wanting to get tickets, I'm sure. But that's something that we'll talk about tomorrow as a club, about the distractions that people, about just conserving our energy that's just something we'll have to see. I've never been in this position before, but it's something I look forward to as well, because it's all part and parcel of making it to the last day in September.
Have you played grand finals at other levels, Harry?
I have. I've been extremely fortunate. I've played in, I think, six grand finals. So I've been and lost one. So.
Oh, your record's good.
Yeah.
You're the charm. Beautiful, Harry. Hey, we look forward to seeing you here next Saturday.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Harry O'Brien in the Collingwood rooms. The Magpies through to the granny. 18-12, 120 over Geelong, 11-13, 79.
Sure, it's been a lovely reaction, hasn't it? I mean, we usually hear keep the lid on it and shut up, and the coach said nothing, and we won't go to the parade, we won't open the door, we won't answer the phone, we won't, It was just nice to hear people react in what you would call a normal and mature way to a wonderful opportunity which they've created. And they've worked extremely hard to get there. I mean, no one, and there are a lot of people who would like to, but no one should begrudge this team the opportunity which they've created and the chance they now have to write some fantastic history for that club.
What a year for Harry O'Brien, All-Australian. Next week he could be a premiership player. We used to have a bit of fun with him saying the Brazilian every time he got it, but came from Claremont, and this is just a year from... It's just touch with gold.
Certainly if he wins the grand final.
Yep. Some of the figures for tonight. Collingwood... scores from turnovers. Collingwood got 13 goals from turnovers and Geelong got 6. The turnovers were 57 for Collingwood and 12 more for Geelong. 69 turnovers for the Cats. The interchanges were 125, and Mick's gone to new levels, 125 interchanges to 114. Now the inside 50s were 56 to 45 in favour of the Pies. The kicks well in favour of the Pies, 228 to 179. But the hand passes, Geelong, now look at this, they lost the game but had 229 handballs to 101. Collingwood clearly a kicking side, Geelong a handballing side, and you'd look at the scoreboard and say, we've got to do something different than that. The contested possessions were pretty even, 77 to 73 in favour of the Pies. Now, some of the individuals, Swan finished up with 32 possessions. I remember last week, last time they played, we were counting him to 40. He finished one short, he got 39, well he got 32 tonight. Didak 28, Pendlebury 24, Johnson 22 and Thomas with 21. They all had more kicks than hand passes. For the Cats, Ablett, he had only 3 in the last quarter but finished with 40 for the game, and it was 16 kicks, 24 hand passes. Corey, 9 kicks, 21 hand passes. Bartel, more hand passes than kicks, 14-15. Ling had 12 possessions in the last quarter, 29 for the game. And Stevie J, 28 possessions. He was another one who had more hand passes than kicks, 12 and 16. And the final score, if you've just joined us, if you're a Collingwood fan and you missed the score, you've won by 41 points after at one stage leading by 81. Collingwood 18-12, 120 to Geelong 11-13, 79.